Secrets to Eternal Youth, a modern adaptation of Christian D. Larson's How to Stay Young by Jamie Love. Copyright 2024, all rights reserved. No part of this book may be reproduced, distributed, or transmitted in any form or by any means without the prior written permission of the copyright holder, except in the case of brief quotations embodied in critical reviews and certain other non-commercial uses permitted by copyright law. This adaptation seeks to modernize the original author's work while staying true to its timeless and intentional essence. It carefully weaves the themes of ageless beauty, renewal, and personal transformation into a cohesive narrative that resonates with contemporary audiences. By incorporating unique concepts, fresh interpretations, and transformative insights, this adaptation aligns the original vision with modern principles of spiritual, philosophical, and practical living. The result is a reimagined work that honors its source while creating an entirely new intellectual property grounded in the core values of vibrant living and enduring youthfulness. This book is intended for informational and inspirational purposes only, and does not claim to provide factual, scientific, medical, psychological, or therapeutic advice. The concepts and ideas presented are meant to inspire personal reflection and exploration. Readers are encouraged to consult qualified professionals for guidance regarding any personal concerns, medical conditions, or psychological needs. The author disclaims any liability for the interpretation or application of the content within this book. About this book. This book, Secrets to Eternal Youth, is a modernized adaptation of Christian D. Larson's timeless work, How to Stay Young. I have long been captivated by the profound insights that Larson shared on the nature of youth, vitality, and the power of the human spirit to transcend limitations. His words inspired me to create a version of his work that is easier to understand and more accessible for today's readers, while retaining the essence of his teachings. My passion for youthful living, health, and inner vitality aligns beautifully with Larson's original message. In this adaptation, I have sought to preserve his core ideas while presenting them in a way that speaks directly to the modern reader, simpler, clearer, and more relevant to the challenges we face today. This is not a reflection of my personal experiences, but rather a way to breathe new life into Larson's concepts, making them more relatable and actionable for everyone. My hope is that you find inspiration within these pages, that Larson's wisdom speaks to your own yearning for vitality, and that you are reminded of the incredible power you have within to shape your experience of life. The journey to ageless beauty is about embracing growth, renewal, and the limitless possibilities of the human spirit. With every word in this book, I invite you to see yourself as you truly are, endlessly renewing, vibrantly alive, and forever young at heart. With love and light, Jamie Love. Introduction. Why learning to stay young matters. Throughout human history, the quest for eternal youth has captivated the hearts and minds of countless individuals. Legends speak of fountains of youth, alchemical secrets, and mystical practices that promise the ability to reverse time's relentless march. Yet the secret to staying youthful has always been closer than we think, embedded not in some far-off elixir or hidden ritual, but within the very fabric of our minds, bodies, and souls. The world has undergone a profound shift in thinking. Science and spirituality now converge to reveal a profound truth. Aging is not a fixed, inevitable process. In the past, the idea of preserving youth was seen as something unrealistic, embraced only by a few and dismissed by the majority. Today, it is a widely shared aspiration. Many not only desire to stay youthful, but also firmly believe it is possible. This transformation in thought stems from two pivotal changes. We are increasingly eliminating the word impossible from our vocabulary, and we've uncovered profound insights into the physical and metaphysical workings of the human body and mind. To remain youthful is to harness the inherent power of renewal that exists within every cell, every breath, and every heartbeat. We live in an age of incredible discovery and innovation. The boundaries of what we once thought achievable are constantly expanding, particularly when it comes to enhancing the quality, beauty, and joy of life. No longer do we accept the notion that life must be a struggle or that happiness is reserved for the afterlife. Instead, we recognize that life, as designed by its creator, is meant to be a masterpiece of beauty, joy, and fulfillment. The perpetuation of youth is one of the greatest ways to enhance life's beauty and joy. When we embrace the belief that staying young is possible, we open ourselves to a richer, more vibrant existence. To live fully and as intended, we must address and reverse the processes of aging that diminish our vitality. This conviction is shared by a growing number of minds worldwide, fueling both scientific and spiritual exploration into the secrets of eternal youth. Some focus on physical solutions, diet, exercise, and biology, while others turn to the mind, exploring how thoughts and emotions shape our bodies. Yet the truth lies in the union of these approaches. Life is neither solely physical nor purely spiritual. It is a harmonious interplay of body, mind, and spirit. To uncover the secrets of eternal youth, we must understand life as a whole, honoring both its tangible and intangible aspects. The essence of youth is not hidden in some distant mystery. It is present in the very fabric of life itself. We often overlook it because we tend to search far and wide for greatness, missing the wonders at our feet. Yet this vital principle, the one that creates and sustains youth, is simple, accessible, and inherent in the natural order. It doesn't require extraordinary effort to harness. We need only align our lives with the laws of nature that already promote vitality and growth. This alignment is not limited to the educated or elite. It is within reach for anyone willing to live in harmony with these universal principles. Learning to stay young is not just a personal triumph, it is a gift to humanity. When we perpetuate youth, we free ourselves from the limitations and burdens associated with aging, including physical decline, mental dimming, and emotional despair. Imagine a world where the wisdom of great minds could continue to flourish, where the insights of experience are not cut short by the constraints of time. Too often, individuals leave this world just as they reach the peak of their understanding and potential. This loss, both to the individual and to humanity, is immeasurable. By staying youthful, we gain the time and vitality to complete our life's work and contribute fully to the world. Youthfulness allows us to truly live, to savor life's beauty, and to pursue meaningful accomplishments without the rush born of fear that time will run out. When we let go of the frantic pace of life, driven by the belief in its brevity, we make space for creativity, joy, and excellence. In staying young, we find the freedom to embrace life's richness and enjoy every moment to its fullest. Staying young is not about denying the passage of time, but about transcending its limitations. It is about maintaining the vigor, brilliance, and vitality that allow us to grow, create, and thrive. Aging, as a process of deterioration, stands in direct opposition to life's purpose, continuous advancement. When we choose youthfulness, we align ourselves with this purpose, unlocking our potential and contributing to a world filled with beauty, wisdom, and joy. To learn the art of staying young is to step into a life of boundless opportunity. It is not only a choice, but a calling, one that promises to transform not only our lives, but also the legacy we leave behind. The time has come to embrace this art and live in harmony with the timeless laws of nature, becoming the vibrant, radiant beings we were always meant to be. Chapter 1. The Power to Achieve Anything You Learn. Human nature is a profound interweaving of the physical and metaphysical. These dual aspects of existence are so deeply intertwined that one cannot be fully understood without the other. Every thought, every emotion, every shift in consciousness reverberates through the body, just as every physical action has its roots in the unseen workings of the mind. This connection is not merely philosophical, it is a cornerstone of the science of life. To disregard either the physical or the metaphysical is to view life through a fragmented lens. True understanding and true transformation requires an integration of both dimensions. This unified approach to understanding life constitutes what we call exact science. Exact science does not limit itself to the observable and measurable, nor does it dwell solely in the abstract realms of thought. Instead, it bridges the two, uncovering the principles that govern the full spectrum of human existence. Historically, this holistic approach has been overlooked. Scientists focusing only on the physical have missed the depth of human potential, while those who exclusively explore the metaphysical have neglected the tangible realities of the body. The result has been incomplete conclusions, incapable of guiding humanity toward its highest possibilities. One of the greatest examples of this oversight is the failure, until now, to uncover the secret of eternal youth. This secret, as it turns out, lies in the interplay of physical and metaphysical laws. Neither alone can unlock the full potential of life, but together, they reveal a path to not only sustain youth, but to continuously advance in vitality, creativity, and fulfillment. It is here that exact science offers a revolutionary perspective. Man can learn anything, and through learning, he can achieve anything, including the perpetuation of youth. The boundless nature of learning. The claim that man can learn anything is not an exaggeration. It is a scientific reality grounded in the limitless capacity of the human mind. The more the mind learns, the greater its ability to learn becomes. Learning is not a finite resource, but an ever-expanding process. The act of acquiring knowledge or skill opens new pathways in the brain, increases understanding, and enhances perception. This means there are no absolute limits to what the human mind can achieve. With the right focus, tools, and intention, man can master any skill, overcome any obstacle, and transform any aspect of his being. This principle extends to the idea of staying young. While the perpetuation of youth might seem like an extraordinary claim, it aligns perfectly with the laws of exact science. If we can conceptualize youth as an ideal state, not just physical vitality, but mental sharpness, emotional balance, and spiritual aliveness, then we can also realize it in our lives. According to exact science, an ideal cannot exist in the mind without the corresponding potential to bring it into reality. The mere fact that we can imagine a state of perpetual youth proves that such a state is attainable. The challenge lies in bridging the gap between the ideal and the real. This is where many falter, not because the ideal is unreachable, but because they fail to understand and apply the principles of exact science. Most people rely solely on either physical methods, such as diet, exercise, or medical interventions, or mental approaches, such as affirmations, meditation, or visualization, without recognizing that true transformation requires the cooperation of both. The nature of man is dual, and so too must be the methods by which he evolves, unlocking the potential for perpetual youth. To remain young, one must adopt a new attitude toward life, one rooted in the conviction that human potential is limitless. This conviction must permeate every thought and action. The first step is to eliminate the belief in personal limitation. So long as we see ourselves as bound by age, genetics, or circumstances, we will be unable to transcend them. Instead, we must train our minds to focus on the possibilities inherent in our nature, understanding that these possibilities are as infinite as the universe itself. Science confirms that the body and mind are in constant dialogue. Subconscious thought, shaped by conscious attitudes, directs the processes of the body. The cells of our body respond to the messages we send them, whether those messages affirm health and vitality or anticipate decline and decay. To stay young, we must train our subconscious to align with the principles of growth, renewal, and vitality. This is not merely positive thinking. It is the deliberate application of mental focus to influence the body's innate regenerative powers. The perpetuation of youth, then, is not only possible but natural. Every human being has experienced youth and retained it for a time. The mechanisms that sustain youth are built into the human system. These mechanisms may become dormant with age, but they do not disappear. With the right mental and physical practices, they can be reawakened and maintained indefinitely. This is the law of nature. What is inherent in us can always be revived and employed, no matter how long it has been dormant. A new paradigm of possibility. The implications of this understanding are profound. If we can learn to stay young, we can also learn to achieve any other aspiration we hold dear. The same principles that govern physical renewal, continuous learning, alignment with natural laws, and the integration of mind and body apply to every aspect of life. Exact science teaches us that the so-called impossible is merely a limitation of perspective. As we expand our understanding, we dissolve those limitations and open the door to greater possibilities. Living in harmony with these principles means embracing the idea that life is meant to be a journey of continuous advancement. Every moment offers an opportunity to grow, evolve, and achieve new heights. This progression is the true purpose of life. To grow old, in the traditional sense, is to stop progressing. It is to stagnate, to lose the spark of curiosity and creativity that fuels renewal. But to stay young is to remain engaged with the unfolding possibilities of existence, to keep learning, creating, and contributing to the world. The science of staying young. The art of staying young is both a science and a discipline. It begins with a shift in attitude, a refusal to accept limitation, and a commitment to explore the full extent of human potential. It requires us to approach life with curiosity, optimism, and determination, seeing every challenge as an opportunity to grow. Most importantly, it demands that we align our thoughts and actions with the natural laws of renewal and advancement. Exact science provides the framework for this transformation. By analyzing life from both a physical and metaphysical perspective, it reveals the interconnectedness of all things and the principles that govern change. Through this understanding, we can take conscious control of our evolution, directing the forces of life to create the reality we desire. To learn to stay young is to learn to live fully. It is to embrace the richness of the present moment while continuously striving for greater heights. It is to honor the incredible potential within us, knowing that we are not bound by the past or by the limitations of conventional thought. Exact science declares that we can achieve anything we set our minds to, and in doing so, we can discover the boundless joy of becoming all that we are meant to be. Chapter 2. The Secret to Staying Young, Becoming Your Authentic Self. Within every human being, a miraculous and continuous process of renewal is perpetually at work. Each cell in the body is replaced after a specific period, some within a few weeks, others within months, with bones taking a while longer. This means that no part of the human body is older than a few years at any given time. This truth is astonishing and profound, for it reveals that the process of aging is not a natural consequence of time, but an artificial construct brought about by human error. Staying young, then, is not something extraordinary or unattainable. It is the natural state of being. Aging, by contrast, is unnatural and arises when we live out of harmony with our own nature. The body, by its inherent design, is always young. It does not require intervention to create youthfulness because youth is its default state. What is required, however, is for us to stop interfering with this natural process. To stay young is not to fight against the tide of time, but to cease disrupting the perpetual renewal that is always underway within us. Staying young is not a task or a struggle. It is simply a matter of being who and what we already are. The law of perpetual renewal. Nature has endowed the human body with the extraordinary ability to renew itself. This process of reconstruction is tireless and unfaltering. Cells are replaced as soon as they have served their purpose, ensuring that the body remains vibrant and functional. This law of perpetual renewal operates in all living organisms, but in the human body it is especially evident. The body of an octogenarian is just as young in its cellular makeup as the body of a newborn. The new cells formed in an elderly person are as young and fresh as those formed in an infant. Yet the stark contrast in appearance between the two suggests that something has gone awry. The cells of an older individual seem to age almost immediately after their creation, whereas the cells of a child remain youthful and vigorous. Why? What causes this divergence from nature's blueprint? The answer lies in a violation of the very laws that govern renewal. The body, left to its natural processes, would continuously regenerate itself in a state of vitality and youth. However, when we allow negative thoughts, stress, unhealthy habits, and artificial constructs to interfere, we disrupt this cycle. The new cells are formed as intended, but the conditions we impose on them, mental, emotional, and physical, cause them to deteriorate prematurely. The role of the mind in renewal. The mind plays a pivotal role in this process. The thoughts we entertain and the beliefs we hold shape the conditions under which renewal occurs. When we live in alignment with the truth of our perpetual youthfulness, we empower the renewal process to function at its highest potential. But when we think of ourselves as aging, declining, or deteriorating, we impose limitations on the body's natural capabilities. To stay young, it is essential to embrace the truth that we are, at all times, being renewed. The body is not a static entity, but a dynamic, ever-changing system. Every muscle, organ, and tissue is constantly being rebuilt. Even the bones, often considered the most permanent structure in the body, undergo full renewal over the course of a few short years. When we align our thoughts with this reality, we allow the body to express its inherent youthfulness without obstruction. Being yourself, the key to eternal youth. The secret to staying young lies in being yourself, fully, naturally, and unapologetically. To be yourself means to live in harmony with the laws of nature that are constantly at work within you. It means to stop fighting against your own design and instead to embrace it. When we try to stay young, we often fail because trying implies that youth is something external to us, something we must strive to attain. But youth is not something we need to achieve. It is something we already are. Every cell in our body is evidence of this truth. The law of renewal ensures that we are perpetually young. Our task is simply to stop interfering with this process. To live as yourself is to recognize that your body is always in a state of becoming new, becoming fresh, becoming young. It is to feel the vitality that courses through your being and to allow that vitality to express itself freely. When you live as yourself, you live in harmony with the renewing forces of nature, and youth becomes your natural state of existence. The science of renewal. The process of renewal is not merely a poetic ideal, it is a scientific reality. The speed and efficiency of renewal depend on how well we cooperate with this natural process. Proper exercise, for instance, stimulates the renewal of muscles, but it must be moderate and intentional. Violent or mechanical exercise can damage cells and hinder regeneration. Similarly, the quality of the air we breathe, the food we eat, and the thoughts we think all play a role in determining how effectively our bodies renew themselves. Living in the consciousness of youth. To truly embody youth, it is not enough to acknowledge these scientific truths on an intellectual level. We must integrate them into our consciousness. This means training the mind to live in constant recognition of the body's perpetual renewal. It means affirming, with every thought and every action, that the body is always young, always fresh, always new. When we internalize this truth, it becomes a guiding force in our lives. We begin to make choices that support the renewing process, choosing thoughts that uplift, habits that nourish, and actions that invigorate. We align ourselves with the natural flow of life, and in doing so, we allow youth to emerge effortlessly from within. Youth as a state of being. Youth is not a superficial condition. It is not defined by the absence of wrinkles or the presence of physical energy. Youth is a state of being, a state of alignment with the life force that animates every cell in our bodies. It is the result of living in harmony with the laws of nature and embracing the truth of our eternal renewal. To be young is to live fully in the present, free from the burdens of past regrets or future anxieties. It is to engage with life as it unfolds, with curiosity, enthusiasm, and joy. When we live in this way, we naturally express the qualities of youth: vitality, creativity, and resilience. The path forward. The journey to perpetual youth begins with a single realization: that youth is not something to be attained, but something to be revealed. It is already within us, waiting to be expressed. By aligning our thoughts, actions, and attitudes with the laws of renewal, we unlock the potential for a life that is not only long, but vibrant, fulfilling, and ever young. When we live as ourselves, fully and authentically, we align with the renewing forces of nature. We stop imposing limitations on our bodies and minds, and we allow the inherent vitality of life to flow through us. In this state, youth is not something we strive for. It is something we simply are. Chapter 3. Why we age despite nature renewing us. It is one of the most profound truths of human biology. The body is constantly renewing itself. Every cell in your body is replaced within several years, often much sooner. This perpetual renewal is nature's promise that the physical body is ever young. And yet, as the years pass, the majority of people begin to look older, feel older, and act older. How is it that a body continually rebuilt from new and vibrant cells can project the appearance and experience of aging? There are two primary culprits: ossification and old age conditions. Both are the results of how we think, feel, and live, and neither is a natural inevitability. Instead, they are self-imposed or inherited patterns that disrupt nature's renewing process. The good news is that these patterns can be reversed. By understanding the roots of ossification and old age conditions, and by aligning ourselves with the truth of perpetual renewal, we can reclaim the vitality and youth that are our natural state. The hardening of the system, understanding ossification. Ossification is a process by which the cells and fibers of the body harden over time, causing muscles to lose their suppleness, joints to become stiff, and organs to grow sluggish. This hardening not only affects the body, but also the brain. As the cells of the brain ossify, their ability to respond to the mind diminishes. Mental clarity wanes, memory fades, and the acquisition of new knowledge becomes increasingly difficult. The brain becomes a less effective instrument for the mind, and life's experiences seem to shrink rather than expand. This hardening process begins subtly, often around middle age, and accelerates as the years pass. The signs are unmistakable. Muscles grow less flexible, movements less fluid, and thoughts less nimble. Ossification creates an environment in which the body begins to feel older than it is, even though every part of it is made of cells that are less than a few years old. The brain, being highly responsive to both physical and mental influences, is especially vulnerable to ossification. It is why many older people find themselves clinging to beliefs and memories from their youth, unable to form new impressions or adopt fresh ideas. The brain's plasticity, the very quality that makes growth and learning possible, diminishes as ossification sets in. This regression to childhood beliefs or behaviors is not a testament to the wisdom of earlier ideas, but rather a reflection of the brain's reduced capacity to process anything new. The true tragedy of ossification is that it is entirely avoidable. It is not an inherent part of aging, but a result of mental and physical neglect. By understanding its causes and taking deliberate action, we can prevent and even reverse this hardening process, keeping both body and mind flexible, vibrant, and youthful. The power of belief, old age conditions. The second reason why people look older despite their perpetually renewed bodies is even more insidious: the mental conditions of aging. Old age conditions are not physical realities, but mental constructs. They are the product of beliefs. Beliefs about what it means to age, how one should look and feel at a certain age, and what is inevitable as the years pass. If you believe that reaching 50 means looking 50, your body will conform to that expectation. Every thought you hold about yourself is a directive to your body, and your body will faithfully manifest what your mind believes to be true. This is why someone who has worried for years can appear significantly older after just a few months of stress. Thought is a creative force, and the body becomes a reflection of the thoughts it is subjected to. The cells in your body are new, fresh, and full of potential. But if you impose old age conditions on them through worry, fear, and the expectation of decline, those cells will take on the appearance and feel of age. This is not because they are inherently old, but because they are shaped by the mental environment in which they exist. The same principle applies to the graying of hair, the wrinkling of skin, and the slowing of movement. These changes are not dictated by time, but by thought. It is a race habit, inherited over generations, to expect hair to gray and skin to wrinkle as we grow older. But habits, no matter how entrenched, can be changed. By breaking free from the mental patterns of aging, we can allow the body to express its true, youthful nature. The role of subconscious patterns. The subconscious mind governs the chemical processes of the body. Every cell, every tissue, and every organ is built and maintained through subconscious activity. If the subconscious is conditioned to believe in aging, it will direct the body to manifest those beliefs. This is why scars, tumors, and other abnormalities often persist despite the constant renewal of cells. The subconscious continues to recreate the same conditions because the underlying patterns remain unchanged. The good news is that the subconscious can be reprogrammed. By changing the beliefs and mental patterns that guide it, we can alter the body's physical expression. This is not wishful thinking, but a principle of exact science. The mind holds the key to the body's renewal, and by aligning the subconscious with the truth of perpetual youth, we can transform the body from the inside out, reclaiming youth through awareness. To stay young, we must first stop thinking of ourselves as old, or as growing older. Every time you think of age, you create conditions in the mind that lead to aging in the body. By contrast, when you live in the awareness that your body is constantly renewing itself, you create conditions that support perpetual youth. This is not a denial of time, but a deeper understanding of its nature. Time does not age the body, the mind does. Your body being continually renewed is always young. To keep it looking and feeling young, you must train your mind to recognize this truth and live in harmony with it. Start by consciously rejecting the belief in aging. Replace thoughts of decline with thoughts of vitality. When you think of your body, imagine it as new, fresh, and full of life. When you look in the mirror, see not the years you have lived, but the vitality that is ever present in your being, living in the eternal now. Youth is not a fleeting state, but a perpetual reality, available to anyone who aligns with it. The cells in your body are a product of the eternal now. They are new, fresh, and vibrant. When you live in the consciousness of this eternal now, you step out of the illusion of aging and into the truth of perpetual renewal. There is no need to fear the future or lament the past. The present moment contains everything you need to live fully, vibrantly, and youthfully. By embracing this moment and the vitality it holds, you free yourself from the mental constructs of aging and allow your body to express its natural state of youth. Your body is always new, your cells are always fresh, and your life, when lived in harmony with these truths, will always be young. Chapter 4: Growing Old, a Cultural Habit We Can Break. The notion that aging is an inevitable process is deeply ingrained in our collective psyche, yet science, when paired with a profound understanding of human nature, tells a different story. Growing old, as we perceive it, is not an unchangeable law of nature, but a race habit, a pattern of subconscious belief passed down through generations. It is a mental construct reinforced by centuries of shared expectation, subtly shaping how our bodies express themselves. The good news? Habits, no matter how entrenched, can be unlearned, and new habits can take their place. The subconscious root of aging. From the moment we are born, we inherit a collective belief system from the race, a set of subconscious patterns that dictate how we think, act, and even how our bodies function. Among these patterns is the deep-seated conviction that age is inevitable, that with the passage of years, decline is unavoidable. This belief is not conscious for most. It resides in the subconscious, where it subtly but powerfully influences every cell and system in our body. The subconscious mind is an obedient servant, carrying out whatever it is repeatedly told to believe. If, for generations, humanity has reinforced the idea that age must follow time, the subconscious mind naturally manifests conditions that align with this belief. Wrinkles, stiffness, graying hair, these are not dictated by the passage of time, but by the subconscious mind's adherence to the race's collective expectations. But the subconscious is also malleable. What it has been trained to do, it can be retrained to undo. The habit of growing old is not an immutable law, but a learned behavior. And just as it was learned, it can be unlearned. How the habit of aging was formed. The habit of aging did not appear overnight. It began with small, repetitive actions, mental, physical, and emotional, performed over countless generations. Every time an individual allowed the stresses of life to weigh them down, every time they believed that youth was fleeting and decline inevitable, they reinforced the race's collective aging pattern. These actions, repeated for centuries, became ingrained in the subconscious fabric of humanity. Every conscious action that suggested aging, be it physical fatigue, worry, or resignation to the idea of decline, strengthened the subconscious habit. Over time, these actions solidified into a race habit, passed down from generation to generation. Today, we inherit this belief as naturally as we inherit our eye color or the shape of our smile. But unlike genetic traits, subconscious habits can be entirely reprogrammed. The power of new habits. The same mechanism that created the aging habit can be used to undo it. If repetitive actions and beliefs establish the subconscious tendency to age, then repetitive actions and beliefs rooted in youth can replace it. To remove the habit of growing old, we must train the subconscious mind to align with the truth of perpetual renewal, that youth is the natural state of the body and that aging is an artificial construct. The first step in this transformation is to reject the belief that aging is inevitable. Every time we see signs of aging in ourselves or others, we must consciously counteract the idea that these signs are natural. Instead, we must affirm the truth. The body is constantly renewing itself, and youth is its default state. This mental shift requires vigilance. Every thought of aging, every expectation of decline must be met with an intentional redirection. When you catch yourself thinking about getting older, replace that thought with one of renewal and vitality. When you hear someone speak of age as a limitation, remind yourself, and them if appropriate, that such limitations are constructs, not realities. The subconscious and physical renewal. The body is a direct reflection of the subconscious mind. If the subconscious is programmed to believe in aging, the body will follow suit, manifesting the physical signs of decline. But when the subconscious is reprogrammed to embrace youth, the body responds by expressing vitality, energy, and renewal. Every cell in your body is replaced within months or a few short years at the most. Yet the appearance of aging persists because the subconscious mind imprints old patterns onto the new cells. To change the body, you must change the subconscious. This involves consistently impressing upon the subconscious the idea of perpetual youth. Affirmations, visualizations, and deeply felt beliefs in vitality can all reprogram the subconscious, aligning it with the truth of renewal rather than the falsehood of decline. Breaking free from the race habit. Living in a society steeped in the belief of aging presents challenges. Everywhere we look, we see evidence of the race habit. Birthday cards joking about decline, cultural milestones tied to age, and a general resignation to the inevitability of growing old. These external reinforcements feed the subconscious habit, making it feel inescapable. But this cycle can be broken. Begin by rejecting the notion that age is natural. Look at every sign of aging as an opportunity to affirm youth instead. When you see wrinkles, stiffness, or gray hair, remind yourself that these are not inevitable, but are the result of collective habits that you are now choosing to break. Cultivate a new relationship with time. Stop thinking of years as markers of decline. Instead, see them as opportunities for growth, learning, and expansion. Celebrate each year not as a step closer to age, but as a testament to the vitality you have cultivated. Reprogramming your reality. The mind creates the reality it believes in. If you believe that you are destined to grow old, your body will comply. But if you truly believe that you are young and that youth is your natural state, your body will align with this truth. The subconscious mind, ever obedient, will begin to produce the conditions of youth, replacing the conditions of age. This reprogramming requires consistency. Every day, affirm your youth. Visualize your body as vibrant and full of life. Speak about yourself not in terms of age, but in terms of energy and vitality. Surround yourself with symbols of renewal, flowers blooming, rivers flowing, the endless cycles of nature that mirror your own capacity for perpetual renewal. The science of eternal youth. Science supports the truth that the body is always new. The cells of your skin, muscles, organs, and even bones are constantly replaced. There is no physical reason for these cells to take on the appearance of age, except for the subconscious patterns that dictate their expression. By changing these patterns, you can change your body. Remember, habits are powerful, but they are not permanent. The habit of aging, inherited from the race, can be replaced by the habit of renewal. It begins with a single decision, the decision to believe in your own youth, to reject the idea of inevitable decline, and to live in harmony with the truth of perpetual renewal. The race habit of aging may be widespread, but it is not unchangeable. By choosing to break free from this collective belief, you become a pioneer of a new way of living, one rooted in vitality, possibility, and the eternal now. Youth is your birthright, and by reclaiming it, you reclaim the fullness of life itself. Chapter 5. Live in the eternal now to erase the consciousness of age. The conventional belief that time is linear and fleeting, that it passes like sand through an hourglass, is deeply ingrained in human thought. We talk about losing time or running out of time, and these phrases subtly shape how we perceive ourselves and our lives. But science, philosophy, and spirituality reveal a different truth. Time does not pass, it simply is. What we experience as time is actually the movement of life within the ever-present now. The past is but a collection of memories, and the future is a projection of possibilities. The only reality is the present moment. It is always now. To live as though time is a rushing current carrying us inevitably toward old age is to misunderstand its essence. Time is not something we pass through. It is the stillness in which all life unfolds. When we understand this, the illusion of time as a measure of age dissolves. We are not aging with the passing of days, months, or years. We are simply living in the eternal now. This realization is a profound shift, freeing us from the subconscious belief that time equals decline. The consciousness of age, a self-created illusion. The idea that many years equate to age is a widespread misconception. If we believe that each passing year adds to our age, we begin to feel and embody the experience of growing older. This feeling is not an inherent truth, but a self-created illusion. The body, which is constantly renewing itself, remains perpetually young at its core. The consciousness of age, however, interferes with this natural renewal process, imposing conditions of decline where there need be none. When we live with the belief that age is inevitable, the mind impresses this belief onto the body. The result? A physical manifestation of the aging process. Wrinkles, stiffness, and fatigue are not dictated by the passing of years, but by the mental conditions we impose on ourselves. The body always reflects the mind's deepest convictions. If the mind believes in age, the body complies. But if the mind is rooted in the timeless now, the body will reflect vitality and youth. Living in the eternal now. To eliminate the consciousness of age, we must train our minds to live fully in the now. This requires a complete reorientation of thought, a release of the past, and a relinquishment of concern for the future. The past, with all its triumphs and sorrows, no longer exists except in memory. The future is merely a concept, a canvas of potentiality. Only the now is real, and only in the now can we truly live. To live in the eternal now means to immerse ourselves entirely in the present moment. It is to focus on what can be done, felt, and experienced right now, without distraction from what was or what might be. When we give our full attention to the now, time ceases to exist as a linear progression, and the concept of age fades away. Affirmations can help anchor us in this reality. By repeating statements such as, "I am not passing with time because time does not pass. Time is, and I am," we align our consciousness with the eternal present. This practice not only eliminates the subconscious belief in age, but also cultivates a profound sense of timelessness. The I am consciousness. Living in the now leads naturally to the development of the I am consciousness, a profound realization of our timeless essence. When we affirm I am, we step into the fullness of our being in this moment. We recognize that we are not defined by the years we have lived or by the external markers of time. Instead, we are eternal beings, limitless in potential, living in a perpetual state of renewal. The I am consciousness dissolves the need to look to the future for fulfillment or achievement. It shifts our focus to the present, where all possibilities reside. In this state, we discover that growth, development, and accomplishment are not tied to time, but to the depth of our engagement with the now. The science of renewal. Nature itself offers a powerful metaphor for this truth. Many cells in the human body are replaced within months, a process that underscores the body's innate capacity for perpetual renewal. If the body is always new, why should it appear or feel old? The answer lies in the consciousness of age, a mental construct that overrides the natural law of renewal. When we live in the eternal now, we align our consciousness with this renewing process. The body responds by reflecting the vitality and youth inherent in its design. The more deeply we immerse ourselves in the now, the more fully we tap into this natural flow of renewal. Eliminating the feeling of time passing. The feeling that time is passing, and with it our youth, is a major contributor to the consciousness of age. To counteract this, we must train ourselves to experience time not as a linear progression, but as a constant presence. Time is not something we move through. It is the ever-present backdrop of existence. This shift in perspective has profound implications. When we no longer feel that we are running out of time, we free ourselves from the subconscious pressure to age. Instead of measuring our lives in years, we measure them in moments, rich, vibrant, and eternal. Practical steps to live in the now. Living in the eternal now requires intentional practice. Begin by focusing completely on the present moment. Whatever you are doing, whether working, resting, or engaging with others, give it your full attention. Let go of thoughts about the past or future and immerse yourself in the here and now. Use affirmations to reinforce this mindset. Say to yourself, I live in the eternal now. I am young now. My body is renewing itself now. There is no age in the now. These statements help reprogram the subconscious mind, replacing the belief in aging with the truth of renewal, the natural state of youth. The consciousness of age is an artificial construct, a product of mistaken beliefs and race habits. When we eliminate this consciousness and align ourselves with the eternal now, we return to our natural state of youth. This state is not something we achieve, but something we uncover, a truth that has always been present, waiting to be realized. By living in the great eternal now, we transcend the illusion of time and age. We discover that youth is not a fleeting stage of life, but a perpetual reality, accessible to all who embrace the timelessness of the present moment. In this state, we do not merely stay young, we live fully, vibrantly, and eternally. Chapter 6. Training your subconscious for endless youth. The subconscious mind is the wellspring of vitality, health, and youth in every human being. It possesses the remarkable ability to sustain the body in a state of perpetual renewal, provided it is properly guided. It is here, in the depths of the subconscious, that the essence of who we are resides, shaping every aspect of our physical and mental reality. Through intentional direction, the subconscious can be trained to produce and perpetuate youth, allowing us to not only reclaim the vigor of our younger years, but to sustain it indefinitely. The subconscious mind is vast and inexhaustible. It is the source of every quality, condition, and characteristic that manifests in the human personality. Whatever the subconscious is instructed to do, it will carry out with unwavering precision. It does not question, it simply acts, responding to the seeds of thought, belief, and desire sown by the conscious mind. This relationship between the conscious and subconscious is the foundation upon which the art of staying young is built. The relationship between the conscious and subconscious minds. The conscious mind is the thinker, the planner, the architect of ideas. It is the part of the mind that deliberates, reasons, and directs attention. The subconscious, by contrast, is the doer. It is the silent executor, tirelessly working behind the scenes to carry out the instructions it receives. While the conscious mind operates at the surface level, the subconscious reaches into the deepest layers of the human experience, touching every cell, every organ, and every function of the body. When the conscious mind entertains thoughts, beliefs, and desires, these are impressed upon the subconscious, which then works to bring them into reality. This process is akin to planting seeds in fertile soil. The quality of the seeds determines the nature of the harvest. If the seeds sown are thoughts of youth, vitality, and renewal, the subconscious will produce these qualities with unfaltering consistency. The subconscious and the habit of aging. From birth, every human inherits a latent tendency from the collective human experience, a subconscious habit of aging. This race habit, as it is often called, is deeply ingrained and subtly shapes our expectations about what it means to grow older. It is this inherited tendency, not the natural processes of the body, that initiates the physical and mental decline commonly associated with age. The subconscious contains both the active cause of youth, driven by the natural process of renewal, and the dormant cause of aging, which activates later in life unless consciously counteracted. To perpetuate youth, the age-producing tendencies within the subconscious must be entirely removed. This is no small task, for these tendencies are deeply rooted in the collective human psyche. However, through systematic and intentional effort, the subconscious can be reconditioned to align with the principles of perpetual renewal. The goal is to saturate the subconscious with youth-producing causes, leaving no room for the habits of aging to take hold. Recreating the subconscious. To recondition the subconscious, it is essential to proceed with purpose and consistency. Begin by deeply impressing upon the subconscious the truth that you are young now. This is not a mere affirmation or wishful thinking. It is a fact grounded in the perpetual renewal of the human body. The majority of your cells have been replaced within the past few months, with the exception of some long-lived cells like those found in bone and brain tissue. You are, in the most literal sense, newly made. By affirming this truth with conviction, you guide the subconscious to express the youth, that is already inherent within you. The subconscious responds only to beliefs that are deeply felt and genuinely believed. Doubt will cause it to hesitate, but unwavering faith will unlock its boundless potential. When you live in the conviction that you are young now, the subconscious will act accordingly, producing and sustaining the elements of youth throughout your system. You will look young, feel young, and embody the vitality of youth. Faith, the key to subconscious transformation. Faith is the bridge between the conscious and subconscious minds. When you approach the subconscious with unwavering faith, it responds with precision and power. Faith is not blind optimism. It is the inner certainty that the subconscious can and will do whatever it is properly directed to do. With faith, the seemingly impossible becomes possible. The body begins to reflect the youth and vitality that the subconscious has been instructed to produce. When directing the subconscious, maintain a mindset of absolute confidence. Doubt disrupts the process, creating resistance that undermines the work of the subconscious. Believe wholeheartedly in the truth of your affirmations and visualizations, knowing that the subconscious is capable of manifesting them. Transmitting youth to future generations. The implications of subconscious training extend beyond the individual. When parents remove the subconscious habit of aging and replace it with youth-producing tendencies, they pass this transformation on to their children. These children are born free from the inherited race habit of aging and instead inherit a natural tendency to remain youthful. This is a profound legacy, one that has the potential to reshape humanity's understanding of aging for generations to come. To ensure this transmission, it is crucial for parents to establish the youth-producing tendency within their subconscious minds before conception. This act of conscious preparation not only benefits the individual, but also paves the way for a healthier, more vibrant future for their descendants. Practical steps for subconscious training. The process of reconditioning the subconscious requires dedication and practice. Begin by visualizing yourself as the embodiment of youth, health, and vitality. Create a mental image of your ideal self and hold this image with unwavering focus. Affirm to yourself daily, I am young now, and my entire being radiates vitality and strength. Every cell in my body is renewed and filled with energy. I am the living expression of health, beauty, and youth. Repeat these affirmations with faith and feeling, allowing their truth to penetrate the deepest layers of your subconscious. Combine this practice with a conscious effort to live in the spirit of youth. Avoid thoughts and behaviors that align with the race habit of aging, such as worrying about growing older or anticipating physical decline. Living in the spirit of youth. To live in the spirit of youth is to align your entire being with the qualities of vitality and renewal. This means thinking, feeling, and acting as though you are young, not as a pretense, but as a reflection of your true nature. The subconscious faithfully mirrors the dominant beliefs of the conscious mind. If you believe you are aging, the subconscious will generate the conditions of aging. But if you believe in your perpetual youth, the subconscious will produce vitality and vigor. The mind's influence over the body extends to the very chemistry of our cells. Thoughts and emotions can alter biological processes, restoring balance and vitality where there was once disorder. For example, if the natural color of your hair begins to fade, direct your subconscious to restore it. Visualize your hair in its natural color and affirm with deep feeling, my hair is vibrant and retains its natural color. My subconscious restores and perpetuates this truth. Similarly, by focusing on the qualities of smooth, youthful skin, you can encourage the body to reflect this ideal. Whenever you catch yourself thinking in terms of age or limitation, immediately redirect your thoughts to affirm your youth and vitality. Over time, this practice will become second nature, and your subconscious will be fully trained to perpetuate the elements of youth, the subconscious as a source of beauty and perfection. The same principles that guide the subconscious to perpetuate youth can also be used to enhance beauty and health. Visualize your ideal self, not as a fantasy, but as a genuine expression of your highest potential. Picture your body strong, radiant, and harmonious. See your skin glowing, your posture confident, your movements graceful. Impress these images upon your subconscious with the same faith and conviction used to affirm youth. The subconscious will respond by aligning your physical reality with these images, refining every aspect of your being. This process not only promotes physical beauty, but also strengthens character, sharpens intellect, and enhances every dimension of your personality. The possibilities are endless, limited only by the clarity and depth of your vision. Mastering the subconscious, the path to eternal youth. The subconscious is a powerful ally, ready to create whatever the conscious mind directs it to. By cultivating a deep connection with this inner force, you gain the ability to shape your life according to your highest ideals. Through faith, visualization, and the consistent affirmation of truth, you can train your subconscious to produce perpetual youth, beauty, and vitality. The journey begins with the recognition that you are already young, vibrant, and full of life. Embrace this truth and let it permeate every level of your being. With time and dedication, the subconscious will align fully with this reality, expressing it in every aspect of your physical and mental existence. Youth is not a fleeting stage. It is the natural state of being, available to all who choose to claim it. Chapter 7. Aligning with the law of continuous renewal. The universe is in a constant state of renewal. Every moment it transforms, recreating itself with an innate purpose, to make all things new. Nothing in nature is static. Everything is dynamic, alive with change. This perpetual renewal is not random, but governed by a universal law, a law that operates through every atom of existence, including the human body. It is the law of perpetual renewal, the very essence of youth and vitality. Yet the effects of this law on the individual depend entirely on how consciously one aligns with it. In the human system, this law is ceaselessly at work, regenerating cells, tissues, and energies. But whether this renewal expresses as vibrant youth or something that appears old depends on the role the mind plays in this process. When the mind harmonizes with the law of renewal, the results manifest as vitality, freshness, and youthfulness. However, when the mind acts in ignorance or opposition to this law, the new is distorted, colored by old patterns, and appears as though it were never renewed at all. The mind's role in renewal. Every action in nature, every breath of wind, every beat of the heart exists to counteract stasis and promote life. Yet in humans, the mind holds a unique power. It can either amplify or neutralize this renewal, influencing every atom of the body. If the mind believes in the inevitability of aging, it will impose this belief upon the body. The fibers of the body, renewed by nature, can look and feel as old or as youthful as the mind believes them to be. The creative forces of the mind inevitably mold what nature offers, expressing it in the likeness of the predominant thought. If the mind feels old, believes in the inevitability of age, and clings to past patterns, it imprints these qualities onto the body. In this way, the newness produced by renewal is overlaid with a veneer of age, making the body appear older than it truly is. Conversely, a mind aligned with the awareness of perpetual renewal sees all things as new, including itself. Such a mind enables the body to reflect this truth, allowing the body to express the vitality and vigor inherent in its constant regeneration. Living in conscious harmony with renewal. To harness the transformative power of the law of perpetual renewal, one must actively train the mind to align with its rhythm. This begins with a recognition that renewal is always occurring, every moment, every day. The belief in age, stagnation, or decline must be entirely eradicated from thought. In its place, one must cultivate a conviction that all things are new now, perpetually fresh and full of life. A mind that lives in conscious harmony with renewal becomes a partner to nature, rather than an obstacle. Such a mind approaches each moment with a sense of progress and possibility, consistently seeking to improve, refine, and elevate every thought and perception. Each day becomes an opportunity to think better thoughts, create finer ideas, and cultivate greater understanding. This ongoing refinement is not merely intellectual, it permeates the entire being, enhancing the body, mind, and spirit. When the mind adopts this practice, it fulfills the timeless wisdom from the Bible: "Be ye transformed by the renewal of your mind." This transformation is not limited to the mental or spiritual realms, but extends to the physical body, which becomes a living testament to the vitality of perpetual renewal. The impact of old thought. One of the greatest obstacles to renewal is the persistence of old thought. Old thought is stagnant, repetitive, and resistant to change. It clings to outdated beliefs, perpetuating patterns that hinder growth and vitality. When the mind dwells in old thought, it disrupts the natural flow of renewal, causing the new to resemble the old. This is why so many people continue to look and feel older, even as their bodies are continually rebuilt. Old thought is closely tied to the race habit of aging, a collective belief that time inevitably leads to decline. This belief, deeply embedded in the subconscious, influences how we perceive ourselves and how our bodies respond. To break free from this cycle, we must actively cultivate new thought, thought that is fresh, progressive, and aligned with the principles of renewal. The role of progressive thinking. To truly embody the law of renewal, the mind must be perpetually progressive. This means every thought, idea, or conception must be an improvement upon the last. The aim of thinking should always be to ascend, to reach higher perspectives, and to embrace greater possibilities. This progressive thinking not only aligns the mind with renewal, but also transforms the entire being, allowing for continuous growth and evolution. When the mind operates in this way, it transcends the limitations of race habits and hereditary patterns. It no longer sees life as a linear progression toward decline, but as an eternal unfolding of potential. The body, influenced by this elevated state of mind, reflects the vibrancy and youthfulness of perpetual renewal, transforming through renewal. The process of renewal is not merely about maintaining the status quo, it is about continual transformation. Each cycle of renewal presents an opportunity to improve upon what came before. The new cells formed in the body can be stronger, more resilient, and more vibrant than their predecessors, if the mind supports this possibility. This principle applies not only to the body, but also to the mind and character. As we align with the law of renewal, we are called to grow, to expand our understanding, and to refine our inner qualities. The biblical principle, be ye transformed by the renewal of your mind, captures this idea perfectly. By renewing our thoughts, we transform our lives, becoming not only younger in appearance, but also greater in wisdom, strength, and purpose. Living in harmony with renewal. To live in harmony with the law of perpetual renewal, we must embrace change as a natural and necessary part of life. Change is not something to be feared or resisted. It is the very essence of growth and vitality. By aligning our thoughts and actions with the spirit of change, we allow renewal to work its magic, both within us and around us. This alignment involves a conscious commitment to live in the present moment. The now is where renewal takes place. When we dwell on the past or worry about the future, we disconnect from the flow of renewal and impede its progress. To stay connected, focus on the present and affirm, I live fully in the now, where all things are new and vibrant. I embrace the process of change and allow renewal to flow freely through me. As we cultivate this mindset, we create an environment in which renewal can thrive, enabling us to look and feel young, no matter how many years we have lived. The path to perpetual youth. When the mind is fully aligned with the law of perpetual renewal, the results are profound. The annual renewal of our physical bodies provided by nature will allow us to look and feel as vibrant and fresh as we truly are, unburdened by the weight of old thought patterns or outdated beliefs. The personality will radiate vitality, and the spirit will shine with the light of youth. This path requires effort, discipline, and a commitment to growth, but the rewards are profound. A life of enduring youth, radiant health, and infinite possibility. The body, freed from the constraints of old age conditions, becomes a testament to the power of renewal. The mind, perpetually expanding, unlocks the full potential of human existence, and the spirit, in harmony with the flow of the universe, experiences the boundless joy of eternal becoming. Chapter 8. Experience, how it can age you or keep you young. Life is a dynamic process. To live is to think is to act, and to act is to accumulate experience. Every moment we engage with the world, we create experiences that shape our understanding and expand our awareness. These experiences, by their very nature, are opportunities for growth, renewal, and transformation. However, somewhere along the way, many of us come to associate experience with aging, as though the very act of living inevitably wears us down. Yet the truth is quite the opposite. Experience is not meant to age us, it exists to perpetuate youth by renewing our minds and spirits. experience as the engine of growth. Experience is the essence of living. It is through experience that we gain wisdom, expand our understanding, and deepen our awareness of life. Far from diminishing us, every experience offers a new dimension of insight and vitality. As we learn and grow, we develop a broader perspective on life, which in turn renews the mind and invigorates the body. Each new experience opens doors to uncharted realms of thought and action. It allows us to stretch the boundaries of our potential, inviting us to grow beyond the limitations of the past. This growth, when unhindered, renews the spirit and sustains youth. To live fully is to perpetuate this cycle of experience, growth, and renewal, ensuring that life remains a vibrant and dynamic journey. The problem of maturity. Yet, despite its inherent potential for renewal, experience often leaves people feeling older and more worn. This paradox arises from the way experience is processed and understood. Many people view experience as a finite resource, something that accumulates over time and eventually reaches a peak, a state we often call maturity. Maturity, as it is commonly understood, implies a finality, a sense that growth has reached its conclusion. When we adopt this mindset, we subtly shift from a state of expansion to one of stagnation. The idea of maturity suggests that there is nothing left to explore, nothing new to achieve. This mental state halts the natural process of growth, leading to a gradual decline in vitality. In reality, there is no final state in the development of the self. Life is a continuous unfolding, an infinite journey of becoming. To think of maturity as an arrival point is to misunderstand the nature of life itself. Growth is perpetual, and every new experience is an invitation to expand further, to deepen our understanding and elevate our perspective. When we embrace this truth, we free ourselves from the limiting concept of maturity and allow experience to fulfill its true purpose, the renewal of the mind and body. The dual potential of experience. When we view development as having an endpoint, a destination where we are meant to arrive, we inevitably cultivate a feeling of maturity. This mindset, while seemingly natural, is inherently limiting. To feel mature is to believe that growth has reached its peak, that there is little left to achieve or explore. Such a belief stifles the very processes that sustain vitality. The mind that feels mature imposes a state of inertia on the body, halting the natural flow of growth and renewal. And where growth halts, the creeping shadow of age begins to appear. In contrast, when we view experience as a continuous unfolding, with no final destination, we eliminate the concept of maturity altogether. Each new insight becomes a stepping stone to even greater insights, each accomplishment a prelude to new possibilities. This perspective fosters what can be called conscious expansion, a feeling of limitless potential that keeps the mind and body perpetually young. The developing mind is inherently dynamic and resists stagnation. It thrives on exploration and continuous learning, fostering a sense of renewal that positively influences the physical body it inhabits. Why experience often ages us. The belief that experience equates to maturity is deeply ingrained in the collective consciousness of humanity. From a young age, we are taught to view milestones as markers of progress toward a finite endpoint: adulthood, wisdom, retirement, old age. This linear perspective creates a subconscious expectation that life must eventually slow down, that growth must give way to decline. When the mind internalizes this belief, it sets into motion the conditions that produce aging. The body, in its infinite responsiveness to the mind, begins to mirror the mental image of maturity. Growth slows, renewal falters, and the signs of aging, stiffness, fatigue, wear, begin to manifest. The very experiences that should invigorate and expand us instead become burdens that weigh us down. However, this outcome is not inevitable. Experience itself does not age us. It is our interpretation of experience that determines its effect. When we view experience as a source of expansion rather than a marker of maturity, it becomes a tool for renewal. Instead of reinforcing the aging process, it fuels the perpetual growth that sustains youth. Reframing experience as renewal. To unlock the rejuvenating potential of experience, we must fundamentally change how we relate to it. Every experience must be seen as an opportunity for growth, a doorway to greater possibilities. This requires a shift in both conscious thought and subconscious belief. The conscious mind should approach every experience with curiosity and expectation, seeing it as a step towards something new and exciting. The subconscious mind, in turn, must be trained to internalize the expanding, advancing nature of experience. When the subconscious embraces this perspective, it aligns itself with the natural processes of renewal, perpetuating youth throughout the system. This reframing of experience transforms it from a perceived burden into a wellspring of vitality. The energy once spent resisting change or lamenting the passage of time can instead be directed toward growth and exploration. Life becomes a continuous adventure, a journey of endless discovery. And with this shift in perspective, the aging process is not merely slowed, it is rendered irrelevant. Action without wear, the true purpose of experience. Experience often feels exhausting because we associate action with depletion. We believe that each effort drains a finite reserve of energy, leaving us weaker and more worn with each passing day. Yet this belief ignores the true nature of action. Properly understood, action is not a process of consumption but of activation. Each experience, each movement, each thought awakens dormant energies within us, increasing our capacity for life. When the mind is trained to see experience as a source of renewal, the body responds accordingly. Instead of feeling worn by life's demands, we feel invigorated. Each new challenge becomes an opportunity to grow stronger, to unlock greater reserves of potential. This is the real purpose of experience, to awaken us to the infinite possibilities within ourselves. Breaking free from fixed ideas. A key obstacle to perpetual youth is the tendency to settle into fixed ideas, beliefs that calcify into rigid truths. Fixed ideas are the mental equivalent of ossified joints. They restrict movement and stifle growth. To remain youthful, the mind must remain fluid, open to change, and eager to explore new perspectives. This means letting go of the need for final conclusions. Life is not a puzzle to be solved, but an ever-evolving mystery to be embraced. Each truth we discover is but a stepping stone to deeper understanding. By maintaining this mindset, we ensure that our experiences continue to expand us rather than confine us. The infinite journey. Life is not a linear progression toward a final destination. It is an infinite journey, a continuous process of becoming. Each experience is a step along this journey, a moment of transformation that propels us forward into new realms of possibility. When we view life through this lens, we free ourselves from the limitations of age and maturity. We see that every moment offers the potential for growth, renewal, and vitality. To live in harmony with the true purpose of experience is to embrace this infinite journey. It is to understand that life is always evolving, always expanding, and always renewing itself. When we align our minds with this truth, we unlock the secret to perpetual youth. Experience ceases to be a source of wear and tear and becomes a force that perpetually revitalizes and transforms us. In this way, we discover that the real purpose of experience is not to age us, but to keep us forever young. Chapter 9. How your thoughts can energize mind and body. The thoughts we entertain shape not only our state of mind, but also our physical condition. This connection between thought and the body is profound, as every idea, belief, or mental habit leaves an imprint on the body's chemistry and structure. If we wish to preserve youthfulness, we must cultivate a discipline of thought that nourishes vitality, promotes renewal, and invigorates the entire system. To think in ways that inspire growth and expansion is to align with the laws of life, while old stagnant thought patterns inevitably lead to the manifestation of age. The influence of thought on the body. Every thought exerts an influence on the body, either subtly or dramatically. Heavy, oppressive thoughts burden the nervous system, creating tension and stagnation that ripple through every cell. Over time, this can harden and ossify cellular structures, producing the conditions we associate with aging. Conversely, thoughts that are light, expansive, and inspired by growth enliven the mind and invigorate the body, keeping the entire system youthful and adaptable. New thought, the kind inspired by curiosity, creativity, and forward motion, harmonizes with the law of perpetual renewal. This law governs nature's ability to regenerate itself, ensuring that everything remains vibrant and dynamic. Old thought, on the other hand, resists this law. It clings to patterns that no longer serve and imposes limitations that stagnate growth. To think in new ways is to breathe life into the body and mind, while repetitive, Unexamined thoughts can drain vitality and accelerate the aging process. The power of new thought. New thought is not a collection of novel ideas or fleeting trends. It is the result of a continually expanding and evolving mind. To think new thoughts is to engage in the creative process of exploring uncharted territories of understanding and expression. It is to approach life with a sense of curiosity, to ask questions, and to remain open to discovery. When the mind is stagnant, repeating the same thoughts day after day, it creates a rigid framework that stifles growth. These mental ruts are the foundation of old thought. Such thought patterns, inherited from cultural norms or personal habits, reinforce the belief in aging. They inhibit the natural flow of life and diminish the body's capacity for renewal. By contrast, the mind that embraces new thought is constantly breaking through boundaries and expanding its horizons. It seeks to improve upon every idea and refine every perception. This continuous process of mental renewal mirrors the body's inherent capacity to regenerate itself. As the mind grows and evolves, so too does the body, reflecting the vitality and youthfulness of the thoughts that animate it. Breaking free from old thought. The tendency to dwell in old thought is deeply ingrained in the collective consciousness of humanity. It stems from the habit of treating ideas as static truths rather than dynamic, evolving concepts. Once accepted, these ideas often become mental fixtures, repeated endlessly without examination or growth. To break free from this pattern, we must cultivate a mindset that views every idea as a starting point rather than a final destination. Every concept should be seen as holding infinite potential for refinement and expansion. When the mind approaches ideas in this way, it transforms the act of thinking into a process of continual discovery and growth. This aligns the mind with the law of perpetual renewal, ensuring that it remains vibrant and dynamic. Overcoming heavy and hard thinking. Hard and heavy thinking arises when the mind attempts to solve problems or understand concepts beyond its current capacity. This often happens when we force ourselves to analyze the complexities of life from a place of limitation, confusion, or incomplete understanding. Such efforts strain the mind, creating mental exhaustion and further entrenching old patterns. Instead of struggling to comprehend, the mind should focus on expanding its capacity for understanding. The key is not to work harder, but to illuminate the mind, to turn on more mental light. When the mind is illuminated, it sees clearly and effortlessly. The answers that once seemed elusive become obvious, and the mysteries that once felt impenetrable dissolve in the light of clarity. Illumination does not come from effort but from alignment. It requires the mind to connect with the universal intelligence that pervades all things. By recognizing that the individual mind is part of a vast sea of infinite intelligence, we tap into a source of wisdom far greater than our isolated thoughts. This connection allows the mind to transcend its limitations, drawing upon the limitless power of universal intelligence to solve problems, create solutions, and envision new possibilities. Tapping into universal intelligence. Every mind exists within a vast sea of universal intelligence. This intelligence is not separate from the individual, but is the very essence of thought itself. By consciously aligning with this infinite source, the mind gains access to greater clarity, creativity, and power. To achieve this alignment, one must first recognize that the mind is not confined to its individual limitations. Instead, it is an expression of the universal intelligence that underlies all things. By cultivating a sense of connection to this greater whole, the mind begins to transcend its perceived boundaries and tap into a limitless flow of insight and inspiration. As the mind grows in its awareness of universal intelligence, it becomes increasingly proficient at using this intelligence in every process of thought. Each thought becomes a reflection of the infinite possibilities inherent in the universe, and the mind itself becomes a conduit for the expression of life's boundless creativity. In this state, the mind is constantly renewed, and its vitality is mirrored in the body. Thought as a source of renewal. When the mind is illuminated by the light of universal intelligence, every process of thought contributes to the renewal of the entire being. Thinking becomes a dynamic, life-giving force that animates the mind and invigorates the body. The creative energies of the mind flow freely, enhancing every aspect of the personality and perpetuating the youth-producing forces within. This alignment with universal intelligence also eliminates the need for strenuous mental effort. Problems that once seemed insurmountable are resolved effortlessly in the light of clarity. The mind moves with grace and ease, unburdened by the weight of confusion or resistance. This state of harmony and flow is inherently rejuvenating, ensuring that both the mind and body remain vibrant and youthful. The key to perpetual youth. To stay young, the mind must remain in a state of continual growth and renewal. This requires a commitment to thinking in ways that inspire vitality and expansion. It means rejecting the stagnation of old thought and embracing the creativity of new thought. It involves cultivating a connection to universal intelligence and allowing this infinite source to guide and illuminate every process of thought. When all thinking animates the mind and invigorates the body, the aging process has no foothold. The mind and body remain in harmony with the forces of life, perpetually renewed by the flow of universal intelligence. In this state, youth becomes not merely a fleeting phase, but an enduring expression of the soul's boundless vitality. Chapter 10. Mental states that cause aging and how to transform them. To maintain perpetual youth and vitality, every aspect of the mind and body must operate in harmony with the natural laws of life. These laws are inherently regenerative, ensuring that the human system is constantly renewed. However, when adverse mental states disrupt this harmony, they interfere with the body's natural renewing processes. This interference introduces conditions that accelerate aging, turning what should be a constant flow of youthful vitality into stagnation and decay. The mind exerts an immense influence over the body, shaping not only how it feels, but also how it functions. Every mental state creates corresponding physical conditions, and if these states are negative or discordant, they manifest as adverse effects in the body. To perpetuate youth, one must cultivate mental states that align with the principles of growth, renewal, and vitality. The natural design for perpetual youth. The natural processes of life are inherently designed to sustain youth. Every cell, tissue, and organ in the body is part of a continual cycle of renewal. Aging is not an inevitable consequence of time, but rather a deviation caused by mental and emotional interference with these processes. When the mind introduces discord, it disrupts the natural flow, leading to conditions that produce the appearance and feeling of age. To align with life's natural design, one must train the mind to foster only those states that support the body's regenerative mechanisms. This requires addressing the root causes of discord and removing the mental attitudes that perpetuate them. At the core of these attitudes lie three primary disruptors: anger, fear, and worry. These emotions, combined with four adverse mental states, heaviness, seriousness, superficiality, and excitement, create the conditions that lead to aging. The heavy mental attitude. A heavy or depressed mindset slows the flow of energy through the system, creating stagnation. This sluggishness weakens the life force, the essential energy that drives the body's regenerative processes. Without sufficient life force, cells begin to harden and ossify, laying the foundation for the physical manifestations of age. Heaviness arises from the belief that life is limited and that the individual is powerless to overcome challenges. To counter this attitude, the mind must learn to dwell in a higher state of consciousness, one that focuses on infinite possibilities and boundless potential. This shift in perspective not only lifts the weight of depression, but also revitalizes the entire system by reestablishing the flow of life force. By embracing the truth that human potential is limitless, one replaces heaviness with lightness and hope. This transformation liberates the mind from despair and infuses it with a sense of joy and optimism, creating the perfect mental environment for the body's renewing processes to thrive. The serious mental attitude. While seriousness can indicate focus and commitment, an overly serious attitude creates tension and rigidity in the mind. This rigidity extends to the body, souring its chemical balance and clogging its systems with waste. The result is a hardened, aged appearance, as the skin becomes wrinkled and the tissues lose their vitality. To overcome excessive seriousness, one must cultivate joy as a guiding principle of life. Joy lightens the mind and restores its natural elasticity, allowing it to move freely and harmoniously with life's rhythms. A single genuine smile, born of inner happiness, has the power to rejuvenate not only the individual, but also those around them. By learning to approach life with a sense of playfulness and wonder, one dissolves the rigidity of seriousness, paving the way for renewal. The superficial mental attitude. Living superficially, engaging only with life's surface aspects, disconnects the mind from its deeper sources of strength and wisdom. Without access to these inner reserves, the system is forced to rely on its limited surface energy, which quickly becomes depleted. This depletion weakens the body, making it vulnerable to the conditions of age. To transcend superficiality, one must cultivate a deeper connection with the subconscious mind. The subconscious is the wellspring of life's inexhaustible vitality, and by accessing it through meditation, reflection, and intentional focus, one can draw upon an endless reservoir of energy and renewal. This connection restores balance to the system, ensuring that it remains vibrant and youthful. The excited attitude, chaos, and misdirection. An overly excited mind creates confusion and discord, scattering the energies of the body and leading to misdirected effort. It scatters the mind, creating confusion and wasting the system's resources. When energy is misdirected in this way, it depletes the life force, leading to discord and the conditions that accelerate aging. Excitement may seem like vitality, but it lacks the balance necessary for sustained renewal. To counteract excitement, one must cultivate poise and composure. A poised mind is calm, centered, and focused, allowing energy to flow smoothly and purposefully. By training every thought to align with serenity and balance, the individual establishes a state of inner harmony that supports the body's natural renewing processes. To overcome the excited attitude, the mind must cultivate a state of inner calm and balance. Poise becomes the anchor that grounds the mind and body, allowing energies to flow harmoniously and purposefully. Every thought should carry an inherent sense of equilibrium, radiating stability throughout the system. In this state of calm, the forces of renewal operate unobstructed, continuously revitalizing the body. The destructive trio: anger, fear, and worry. Anger, fear, and worry are the greatest enemies of youth. Each of these states disrupts the body's natural rhythms, overtaxing the renewing processes and embedding destructive patterns in the system. Anger is among the most destructive mental states, as it disrupts the body's chemistry and destroys cells, particularly in the nervous system. The creative energies of the body are unable to immediately replace these cells, leading to a buildup of waste and toxins. This waste, if not eliminated, hardens and ossifies, contributing to the appearance and feeling of age. To overcome anger, one must cultivate a mindset of acceptance and harmony, recognizing that all things ultimately work together for good. Fear renders the system passive and negative, reversing the constructive forces that sustain vitality. Fear magnifies weakness and undermines the body's resilience, creating an environment where decay thrives. The antidote to fear is faith: faith in oneself, in life, and in the inherent goodness of existence. Faith reestablishes the system's positive flow, dissolving fear and restoring vitality. Worry is perhaps the most insidious of all, as it disrupts the body's chemical balance at a fundamental level. Worry generates toxic elements that harden tissues, wrinkle skin, and sap the system of its vitality. To eliminate worry, one must cultivate trust in the natural order of life, embracing the certainty that all things are unfolding as they should. Removing adverse mental states. The removal of negative mental states is essential for maintaining youth. This process begins with a shift in focus from the self-centered concerns of the personal ego to the expansive possibilities of the universal self. By aligning with the greater forces of life, one transcends the limitations of fear, anger, and worry, entering a state of harmony that supports renewal. Selfishness, which contracts both mind and body, must also be addressed. A selfish mind limits its capacity for growth and renewal, leading to stagnation and decay. By shifting focus from personal gain to collective good, one expands the mind and energizes the body, creating conditions that perpetuate youth. Faith is the unifying thread that dissolves all adverse mental states. It brings the mind into alignment with the universal flow of life, where all forces work in harmony for growth and renewal. A person who lives in faith feels supported by every element of existence, and this support energizes both mind and body. Faith eliminates fear, worry, anger, and every other destructive tendency, replacing them with a profound sense of peace and vitality. Living in harmony with life. When the mind aligns with life's natural principles of growth and renewal, it creates a foundation for perpetual youth. Each thought becomes a force for vitality, each emotion a source of rejuvenation. By cultivating joy, faith, and poise, and by eliminating anger, fear, worry, and other adverse states, one creates an inner environment where renewal flourishes. In this state of harmony, the aging process is not merely slowed, but reversed. The body, no longer burdened by discordant mental states, is free to express its natural vitality, and the individual experiences a life of boundless energy, vibrant health, and enduring youth. Chapter 11. Cultivating mental states that promote youthfulness. To sustain youthfulness in body, mind, and spirit, the mental states we cultivate must harmonize with the law of perpetual renewal. The mind plays a pivotal role in shaping the body's reality, and its thoughts, feelings, and perceptions are the architects of the physical form. For the body to remain youthful, the mind must focus entirely on renewal and growth, avoiding all that invites stagnation or decline. By aligning thought with nature's inherent tendency toward vitality and regeneration, one can perpetuate the essence of youth indefinitely. The first step toward this alignment is cultivating the sensation of youth within the mind. The body reflects the age felt in the mind, not the chronological years lived. To feel young is to be young, for what the mind accepts as true becomes the reality expressed in every cell of the body. If one mentally feels older with each passing year, the body will mirror this belief. Yet this sensation of growing older is not natural. It is an artificial construct born of societal conditioning and cultural expectation, deeply imprinted upon the subconscious mind. Nature itself does not age in the way humans often perceive. The human body is in a constant state of renewal, with many cells replaced within months or even days. It is not nature that causes the body to age, but the mind that imposes the concept of age onto the physical form. To eliminate the false sensation of aging, the mind must be retrained to feel youthful and to create mental states that naturally perpetuate vitality. The power of feeling young. The journey toward perpetual youth begins with feeling young. The body mirrors the age felt by the mind. Thoughts shape reality, but it is the emotional core of these thoughts, the feeling in the heart, that truly manifests in the physical. If a person feels old in their heart, their body will gradually express this feeling in wrinkles, stiffness, and fatigue. Conversely, when one feels vibrant, energetic, and youthful, this internal state radiates outward, infusing the physical form with vitality. Unfortunately, most people are deeply conditioned to believe they are growing older each day. This belief, deeply ingrained and often unconscious, produces a sense of aging that permeates the mind and body. It is not nature making them old, it is their own mental pattern. Nature is not aligned with aging, it is aligned with renewal. By perpetuating feelings of youth within the mind, one can allow the body to express the perpetual vitality that nature is already working to provide. To counteract the artificial feeling of aging, the mind must be trained to embrace and perpetuate the feeling of youth. The first step is to visualize oneself as youthful. What the mind consistently envisions, it begins to feel, and what it feels, it expresses. The mental images of vitality, strength, and youthful energy become the blueprint for the body to follow. Eliminating thoughts of aging. To perpetuate youth, thoughts of aging must be removed entirely. Thinking about age, even jokingly, imprints the subconscious with the concept of growing older. The subconscious does not distinguish between humor and seriousness, it simply absorbs what is fed to it. Therefore, all references to aging must be erased from daily thought patterns. Instead of dwelling on age, the mind should focus on youth. When you think of yourself, see yourself as vibrant and young. This is not mere wishful thinking, it is alignment with truth. Nature is perpetually renewing your body, replacing old cells with new ones. Every year, your body is biologically young, no matter how many years you've lived. Affirming this truth strengthens its reality in your life. The power of mental imagery and affirmation. One of the most effective ways to cultivate a youthful mental state is through the deliberate use of mental imagery. The pictures we hold in our minds profoundly influence the states we feel and the realities we create. By consistently picturing youth, vitality, and energy, we reprogram the subconscious mind to embody these qualities. This is not an idle hope. It is the intentional harnessing of the mind's creative power. To picture oneself as perpetually youthful, one must banish all thoughts of age. Age should not occupy the mind, even in joke or humor, for every thought leaves an impression. Even lighthearted thoughts can reinforce the subconscious patterns of aging. Instead, replace all thoughts of age with clear mental pictures of youth, vigor, and energy. When thinking of oneself, visualize a vibrant, healthy, and youthful version of your body and mind. Understand that this is not a delusion, but a recognition of truth. Nature continuously renews your body. It is designed to be perpetually young. Therefore, thinking of yourself as youthful is simply aligning your thoughts with the reality of your being. This alignment can be further reinforced by daily affirmations, such as, "I am young because my entire being is perpetually renewed." "Nature gives me a new body every year." "My life is as fresh and new as the beginning of every day." These affirmations should be more than just words recited mindlessly. They must be felt deeply, believed entirely, and spoken with conviction. When repeated with clarity and strength, these affirmations penetrate the subconscious mind, influencing every cell in the body to align with the truth they declare. As this process takes hold, the body begins to express the perpetual youthfulness that is its natural state. The power of emotional balance. Deep emotion is an essential ingredient in forming mental states that perpetuate youth, but this emotion must be channeled with balance and poise. Overwrought or chaotic emotional states can distort the mind's affirmations, introducing turbulence where there should be clarity. The most effective emotional force is one of quiet intensity, a deep, calm conviction that radiates through the mind and body like a steady flame. When this emotional force is imbued with the desire for renewal and youth, it becomes a powerful creative energy, shaping the body and mind in alignment with that desire. This energy must remain in harmony, free from agitation or desperation, for it is in stillness and clarity that the most profound transformations occur. Living in a state of youth. To maintain youthful mental states, the mind must live fully in the present moment, embracing the truth that youth is the only reality. This does not mean denying the experiences of life or the wisdom gained with time, but approaching these experiences with a spirit of vitality and growth. The imaging faculty of the mind should be directed exclusively toward envisioning a life filled with energy, possibility, and renewal. The more vividly and consistently one holds these images, the more they shape the mental states that govern the body. Imagination is the bridge between what is and what can be. When properly directed, it guides the mind away from the artificial construct of age and toward the natural state of perpetual youth. In the ideal world created by imagination, old age does not exist. It is inconceivable. By dwelling in this ideal, the mind gradually reshapes its reality, allowing the forces of renewal to operate without interference. The science of renewal in action. When the mind fully embraces the truth of renewal, the body cannot help but follow. The forces of renewal, which operate continuously within every cell, respond to the dominant ideas of the mind. If the mind envisions youth and vitality, the body expresses these qualities. Conversely, if the mind dwells on age and decline, the body conforms to those expectations. The human system naturally imitates the laws of nature, and nature perpetually renews itself. By training the mind to align with this principle, one ensures that the body remains a reflection of the ever-renewing forces of life. This alignment requires a total commitment to youth-producing thoughts, feelings, and images. The transformative power of renewal. Even for those who have long lived under the shadow of societal beliefs about aging, transformation is possible. By embracing the feeling of renewal, even a body that appears worn by age can regenerate into a vibrant, youthful form. The process begins with the mind. By feeling the truth of renewal and living in alignment with it, nature gives each of us a renewed body each year. There is no reason this body should not look and feel as new as it is. By harmonizing the mind with the principles of perpetual youth, we allow the body to express its natural vitality, ensuring that age becomes nothing more than a distant illusion, powerless against the truth of eternal renewal. Chapter 12. Living with Purpose. Life is a journey of unending growth, a forward motion into greater vitality, understanding, and fulfillment. To live a life rooted in the principles of continuous advancement is to experience an ever-expanding flow of energy and potential. This process, the conscious pursuit of personal evolution, creates a perpetual influx of life force, an abundance of which is essential for the perpetuation of youth. In contrast, the aging process begins when growth stagnates and the dynamic exchange of energy wanes. By aligning our lives with the purpose of advancement and achievement, we not only retain the essence of youth, but also extend the very fabric of our existence. The secret to eternal vitality lies in the conscious expansion of life. Every cell in our body depends on the energy we supply it, and this energy flows from our mental state and purpose. When we engage with life as a continuous process of becoming, always striving for something greater, our cells are charged with vitality. This abundance of energy sustains the organized systems of the body, making it virtually impossible for decay or death to take root where life is in full expression. Continuous advancement as a way of life. Living for continuous advancement requires more than fleeting inspiration. It demands a deep, unwavering commitment to growth. Each day must be approached as an opportunity to move forward, to expand into greater awareness, capability, and experience. The objects of one's focus, goals, aspirations, and dreams must be larger and more meaningful than what has already been attained. Every action must carry within it the intention to elevate, improve, and transcend. The pursuit of higher attainments and greater achievements is not merely a strategy for success, it is the very mechanism by which life perpetuates itself. To desire much and to strive for much is to align with the innate creative force of existence. This desire must be alive in every thought, every emotion, and every effort, pulsing through the personality like an irresistible current. It must not waver or diminish, but grow stronger with each step forward. When life is lived for the purpose of advancement, it becomes a source of endless vitality. Youth is no longer a fleeting phase, but a state of being, sustained by the unyielding drive to live fully, richly, and endlessly in the flow of progress. In this state, the mind and body are not only preserved but exalted, radiating the boundless energy of a life well lived. The peril of inactivity. A critical threat to perpetual youth is the notion of retirement or withdrawal from active engagement with life. To think of retiring is to entertain the idea of slowing down, of ceasing to strive. The future must not be thought of as a period of rest, but as a continuation of vibrant action and achievement. The moment we think of retreating into inactivity, we invite stagnation, and stagnation is the precursor to aging. Instead, we must cultivate a mindset where the future remains open, undefined, and filled with opportunities for action. Life should be a perpetual state of becoming, an ever-expanding field of exploration and achievement. By keeping our attention fixed on the present moment's opportunities for growth and advancement, we remain engaged with life's vitality. It is this engagement that keeps the spirit youthful and the body vibrant. The act of striving itself ignites energy and awakens the soul. Growth must be all-encompassing, affecting the body, mind, and spirit. The body must evolve toward greater strength and health. The mind must expand in wisdom and creativity. The spirit must reach toward higher planes of understanding and purpose. A mind engaged in purposeful action remains young. To live with a sense of purpose is to immerse oneself in the richness of life's unfolding possibilities. This purpose is not an endpoint to be reached, but a continuous journey of striving and fulfillment. The notion of continuous advancement applies not only to grand achievements, but also to the smallest aspects of daily life. Each moment offers an opportunity to grow, to refine our thoughts, elevate our emotions, and strengthen our actions. When every part of our being is infused with the spirit of progress, stagnation has no room to take hold. Every atom in the body feels the energy of movement, and this momentum translates into perpetual renewal. In this way, advancement becomes the essence of existence, and age becomes irrelevant, aligning with the spirit of progress. The spirit of advancement is inherent in the fabric of existence. Life itself is designed to grow, evolve, and improve continuously. When one consciously aligns with this universal principle, every fiber of their being begins to reflect this forward momentum. Progress becomes an intrinsic quality of life, visible in every thought, action, and outcome. Every atom within the body can feel and respond to this drive for progress. When the mind adopts a constructive and growth-oriented attitude, it inspires the body to do the same. Cells regenerate with more vitality, functions improve, and energy flows more freely. The entire system moves in harmony with the natural forces that sustain and rejuvenate. Age, in contrast, is the result of stagnation and regression. It arises when the natural momentum of life is interrupted by inactivity, disinterest, or despair. But so long as the mind is alive with purpose and every action is imbued with progress, the body will remain youthful, mirroring the vitality of the spirit. Eternal progress and the perpetuation of youth. The concept of eternal progress is both profound and practical. It encompasses the idea that every part of the human system, every cell, every thought, every feeling, is in a constant state of evolution. This is the natural order of life. Growth is the universal law, and everything in the human experience is designed to improve upon itself. When we consciously align with this law, we unlock the potential for continuous improvement in every aspect of our being. The mind expands, becoming more refined, more creative, and more capable. The body becomes stronger, more resilient, and more attuned to the flow of life. This process is not a mere ideal. It is a tangible reality, accessible to anyone who chooses to live in harmony with the principles of perpetual growth. Progress is not merely about reaching goals, it is about refining the process itself. The mind expands through intellectual and creative pursuits. Consciousness deepens as one seeks higher truths and broader perspectives. The body perfects itself by becoming more attuned to its natural rhythms, enhancing its strength, flexibility, and vitality. These aspects of progress are interconnected, creating a holistic cycle of renewal and growth. To live in alignment with eternal progress means to approach every action with the intention of doing it better than before. Whether in thought, speech, or action, every effort should aim for refinement and elevation. This commitment to improvement transforms the mundane into the extraordinary, infusing even the smallest tasks with purpose and vitality. As we live with this mindset, every part of our being is uplifted, and the conditions of age, stagnation, decay, and decline are rendered impossible. Development becomes the ruling force, and every aspect of life is lifted into higher expressions of its potential. The mind as the architect of progress. The forces within the human system respond to the direction of consciousness. If the mind commits itself entirely to the pursuit of advancement, every element of the body and soul will follow suit. This commitment must go beyond superficial intention. It must be a deeply ingrained desire to employ every ounce of energy toward growth and renewal. To simply renew oneself is not enough. Each renewal must bring about a more refined, more elevated state of being. Renewal and growth must work in tandem, creating a dynamic process that continually elevates the individual to higher levels of existence. This is the essence of perpetual youth, living in a state of constant evolution, where each moment surpasses the last. The desire for more life. The desire to advance must be cultivated as a driving force within. It is not about greed or ambition for external rewards, but about the yearning for a fuller, richer experience of existence. This desire is what keeps the spirit alive, the mind sharp, and the body vibrant. It is the fuel for the engine of perpetual progress. Recognizing that life itself is structured for advancement provides the foundation for this desire. Every law of nature supports growth, and by aligning with these laws, one taps into an inexhaustible reservoir of energy and creativity. Advancement is not a struggle against limitations, but a natural unfolding of potential. The joy of forward momentum. The greatest fulfillment in life comes from the simple act of moving forward. To advance is to live, and to live is to find joy in the process of becoming. This joy is not dependent on external achievements, but arises from the internal sense of growth and expansion. It is the joy of knowing that each day brings new possibilities, that each step forward opens new doors. This joy is the essence of youth. It is the spark that keeps the mind curious, the body active, and the spirit engaged. To cultivate this joy is to cultivate a life of vitality and purpose. It is to live not for the past or even for the future, but for the present moment's endless potential. By dedicating ourselves to advancement, attainment, and achievement, we align with the highest principles of life. We become active participants in the great unfolding of existence, and in doing so, we ensure that our own lives remain vibrant and full of possibility. This is the path to perpetual youth, a life lived with purpose, energy, and joy, the synergy of renewal and growth. The interplay of renewal and growth is the key to a life of boundless energy and creativity. Renewal is the process by which the body and mind are refreshed, while growth ensures that each renewal brings an elevation of form and function. It is not enough to merely replace what has been used or lost. Each cycle of renewal must bring improvement. This upward spiral of growth and renewal ensures that we do not merely sustain life, but enhance it continuously. When renewal and growth are combined, the personality becomes a dynamic expression of youth. The body retains its vitality, the mind its sharpness, and the spirit its enthusiasm. This state of being is not reserved for the few. It is available to anyone who chooses to live for the purpose of advancement. Chapter 13. Loving your work as a path to lifelong vitality. The essence of youth is vitality, and the key to maintaining vitality lies in how we approach our daily work. Work is not merely an obligation. It is an opportunity to express energy, creativity, and purpose. To love what you do transforms work from a mechanical process into a vibrant, life-giving act. Love infuses energy with soul, making it dynamic, rejuvenating, and enriching. When work is animated by love, it ceases to drain us. Instead, it revitalizes and energizes every part of our being. When we allow our work to become mechanical or indifferent, it takes a toll on both mind and body. Energy that is forced or uninspired grinds down the system, depleting the very life force we rely upon to stay vibrant and youthful. But when energy is imbued with passion and purpose, it replenishes itself, creating a cycle of renewal rather than exhaustion. It is this cycle, sustained by love for what we do, that keeps the body youthful and the mind sharp. The impact of loving your work. Loving your work is not merely a matter of attitude. It has profound physiological effects. When you approach tasks with genuine enthusiasm, you engage the deeper creative aspects of your mind. This engagement activates the finer elements of life, such as joy, vigor, and inspiration, which in turn manifest as freshness, vitality, and youthfulness in your physical form. Think about the difference between play and work. People rarely grow tired from play because they love it. The same physical exertion, when done as work without love, quickly leads to fatigue. The secret is simple. When love animates your actions, they become a source of energy rather than a drain. Loving your work shifts it from a burdensome chore to an enriching experience that enhances your life. Overcoming mechanical effort. The mechanical action of work is a major cause of fatigue and aging. When actions are repetitive, uninspired, and performed without engagement, they deplete the body's reserves. This mechanical effort has a hardening effect on the cells, draining them of life force and leading to ossification, a process directly linked to aging. To prevent this, one must remove all traces of indifference or reluctance from their work. Love for what you do eliminates mechanical effort, replacing it with fluid, dynamic energy that invigorates rather than depletes. When you love your work, every action becomes constructive. The energy you expend is returned to you, multiplied, ensuring that you remain vibrant and capable. Cultivating love for your work. Not everyone has the luxury of doing work they naturally love, but the beauty of the human mind is its adaptability. You can train yourself to love anything by consciously choosing to see its value and purpose. Begin each task with the affirmation, "I love this work," and let that thought guide your actions. Over time, this attitude reshapes your perception, transforming even mundane tasks into meaningful experiences. When you approach your work with love, you invite creativity and enthusiasm into your process. Love brings out the best in your abilities, unlocking hidden potential and allowing you to perform at your peak. As you pour your heart into what you do, the quality of your work improves, and so does your enjoyment of it. The connection between love, energy, and youth. Love has a uniquely constructive power. It deepens the actions of your mind and body, aligning them with the inexhaustible life force that flows through all things. This alignment enhances not only your work, but also your entire being. Loving your work ensures that the energy you expend is directed toward building and renewing both the task at hand and your own vitality. When you love your work, you remain engaged and purposeful, which helps you avoid the stagnation that leads to aging. Work that is infused with love becomes a force for growth and development, both personally and professionally. It keeps you moving forward, continuously improving and expanding your capacities. The reward of lifelong work. Loving your work has another profound benefit. It removes the fear of aging and the pressure to retire. When work is a source of joy and fulfillment, you are not only capable of continuing, but eager to do so. The idea of retirement becomes irrelevant because your work is not something you wish to escape from. It is something that enriches your life. A person who loves their work remains valuable, dynamic, and irreplaceable. Their contributions grow more meaningful with time because they continue to gain knowledge, experience, and skill. For such a person, the passing of years does not mean decline, but enrichment. Each year brings more intelligence, creativity, and capacity, making their presence indispensable in any field. Work as a source of renewal. Work done with love is inherently renewing. Instead of draining energy, it taps into deeper reservoirs of life force, constantly replenishing your vitality. This process ensures that you remain vibrant, capable, and youthful, no matter how many years pass. Loving your work connects you to the creative flow of life itself, making every day an opportunity to grow and thrive. The benefits of this approach are not limited to professional success. Loving your work enhances your physical and mental well-being, keeps your mind sharp, and fosters a deep sense of satisfaction. It transforms work from a necessity into a source of joy and fulfillment. Finding work you love. For those who feel disconnected from their work, the first step is to cultivate a mindset of appreciation. Even if the work itself seems uninspiring, find aspects of it that align with your values or goals. By focusing on these positive elements and affirming your love for what you do, you can begin to transform your relationship with your work. If possible, seek work that aligns with your passions and strengths. But remember, love for your work is not solely dependent on the nature of the work itself. It is a state of mind. When you learn to bring love to every task, you unlock the ability to find fulfillment in any situation. The legacy of loving your work. A life spent loving your work is a life of continuous growth, contribution, and renewal. It ensures that you remain vibrant and relevant no matter your age. Such a life is rich in purpose and joy, filled with opportunities to learn, create, and give back. It is a life that perpetuates youth, not just in appearance but in spirit. To love your work is to embrace the fullness of life. It is to align yourself with the creative energy of the universe, ensuring that your actions are not only productive but also life-giving. In this state, you will find not only professional success, but also personal fulfillment and the enduring gift of youth. Chapter 14. Enjoyment as a gateway to lasting youth. The essence of a youthful life lies in its vibrancy, and vibrancy springs from joy. The mind that is truly happy is a mind that is in harmony with life itself, and it is only in this harmony that we find the secret to perpetual youth. To remain young, one must remain in sync with the natural rhythms of renewal and growth that define our existence. At its core, this harmony is sustained by perpetual enjoyment, a state where every moment is rich with appreciation, fulfillment, and joy. Happiness is not merely a fleeting emotion. It is a condition of the mind, deeply tied to our ability to engage fully with life. True happiness comes not from external circumstances, but from the way we perceive and interact with life's experiences. When the mind learns to find joy in every moment, in every experience, and in every breath, it taps into an inexhaustible reservoir of vitality. This joy is the fuel that keeps us mentally, emotionally, and physically alive. The nature of perpetual joy. To sustain perpetual joy, one must learn to enjoy life itself. This means appreciating the simple act of being, of existing, breathing, and participating in the great unfolding of life. Joy rooted in the essence of life is not dependent on external conditions or fleeting pleasures. It is a steady undercurrent that flows through every aspect of our being, animating us with a sense of purpose and wonder. This form of joy transcends the material world. While material pleasures can enhance our lives, They are incomplete without the deeper satisfaction that comes from living in alignment with our true nature. It is the soul of our experiences, the life force within them, that brings us genuine happiness. When we learn to seek and cultivate this deeper joy, every experience, whether simple or grand, becomes meaningful and enriching. Breaking free from the race belief about happiness. Society often perpetuates the belief that joy is fleeting, reserved for the young, and inevitably diminishes with age. Phrases like enjoy it while you can, or fun is for our younger years, age is for settling down, reflect a widespread misunderstanding of life's potential. This mindset not only limits our capacity for enjoyment, but also accelerates the aging process by anchoring us in a belief system that anticipates decline. When people cram as much fun as possible into their youth, believing it to be their only chance for happiness, they often find themselves depleted rather than fulfilled. This approach to life sacrifices quality for quantity and fosters a sense of loss as time progresses. In contrast, when we understand that joy is not confined to a particular stage of life, we can approach every moment with a sense of balance, savoring each experience and developing an enduring capacity for happiness. Teaching this truth to younger generations is vital. When children understand that youth can last as long as they live in alignment with nature's laws, they will no longer feel the need to rush through life's pleasures. Instead, they will seek experiences of depth and quality, cultivating a capacity for joy that grows richer and more profound over time. Joy as a lifelong companion. The belief that enjoyment is reserved for youth is not only untrue but harmful. It places artificial limits on our capacity for happiness and reinforces the idea that aging is inevitable and joyless. In reality, youth is not a temporary stage, but a state of being that can be perpetuated through harmonious living. To truly stay young, we must embrace the idea that life is meant to be enjoyed at every stage. Happiness is not an indulgence, it is a necessity. Just as the body requires nourishment, the mind requires joy to remain vibrant and alive. When the mind is deprived of enjoyment, it begins to stagnate, losing its vitality and contributing to the aging process. A joyful mind is an alive mind, and an alive mind perpetuates a youthful spirit. The three planes of happiness: body, mind, and soul. True, lasting joy comes from engaging with all dimensions of our being: physical, mental, and spiritual. Each of these planes contributes to our overall sense of fulfillment, and neglecting any one of them creates an imbalance that diminishes our capacity for happiness. Physical pleasures, when refined and balanced, bring vitality and sensory delight. Mental pleasures, such as intellectual pursuits and creative expression, provide stimulation and a sense of accomplishment. Spiritual joys, which arise from a deep connection to our inner self and the larger universe, offer a profound and abiding sense of peace and purpose. To experience perpetual enjoyment, we must integrate these three sources of joy. When the body, mind, and soul are in harmony, each enriching the other, the result is a life filled with vibrant energy and boundless happiness. This holistic approach ensures that our enjoyment is deep, meaningful, and sustainable, cultivating perpetual joy. To achieve perpetual joy, we must train our consciousness to remain free and expansive, encompassing the full spectrum of life. A free consciousness is one that is not confined to the limitations of the physical, the mental, or the spiritual alone, but moves fluidly among them, drawing joy from all sources. Living in this state of expanded awareness allows us to feel the flow of happiness that is ever present in the universe. Life itself is an endless wellspring of joy, and when we align ourselves with its rhythms, we tap into this infinite source. Every breath, every interaction, and every experience becomes an opportunity to feel alive and connected. The link between joy and youth. The connection between perpetual joy and perpetual youth is undeniable. When the mind is constantly nourished by joy, it remains alive and vibrant, and this vitality is reflected in the body. A joyful mind invigorates the entire system, promoting renewal and growth. It keeps the cells of the body vibrant, the energy flowing, and the spirit uplifted. Conversely, when joy is absent, the mind and body begin to wither. The absence of joy creates stagnation, leading to physical and mental decline. To stay young, we must keep the spark of joy alive in every aspect of our lives, ensuring that our entire being remains fully engaged with the beauty and wonder of existence. A life of everlasting joy. To live a life of perpetual enjoyment is to live in harmony with the essence of youth itself. This does not mean chasing fleeting pleasures or avoiding challenges. Instead, it means embracing life in its fullness, finding joy in its infinite variety, and approaching every moment with a sense of gratitude and wonder. When we cultivate this mindset, we discover that joy is not something we must seek. It is something we already possess. It is the natural state of a mind that is free, expansive, and aligned with the truth of life. In this state, youth becomes not a phase but a way of being, enduring, vibrant, and full of possibility. Chapter 15. Living with positivity and an elevated perspective. Youth is more than an external appearance. It's a reflection of the mind's vitality and its position in life. When we live in the upper story of thought and consciousness, we project energy, vibrancy, and youthfulness. Conversely, when we dwell in the lower story of thought, where worry, pessimism, and lethargy reside, we age prematurely. Similarly, living on the sunny side of life, with optimism and positivity, fosters a radiant glow of youth, while living in the shadows of negativity drains vitality and invites the conditions of age. These principles are not abstract philosophies. They are grounded in the science of the mind-body connection. The chemistry of life is directly influenced by our mental attitudes. Just as a sunbeam nourishes the growth of a flower, the light of a positive, elevated mindset energizes the cells, promotes renewal, and sustains youth. On the other hand, a mind entrenched in darkness, whether through negativity, fear, or doubt, induces contraction, stagnation, and decay in the body. The chemistry of elevation and expansion. When we live in the upper story of thought, we naturally expand. This elevated state creates a sense of spaciousness in the mind, and this expansiveness reverberates throughout the body. The cells, invigorated by the energy of a vibrant mind, expand to their full potential. Healthy, robust, and fully expanded cells exude vitality. They are brimming with life, and life is the essence of youth. In contrast, living in the lower story, where thoughts are heavy, contracted, and depressed, initiates a downward spiral. The mind becomes sluggish, the body follows suit, and the cells begin to shrink and wither. Over time, this contraction leads to ossification, a hardening of tissues that is the hallmark of aging. Growth is stunted, renewal is inhibited, and the natural processes of life are thrown into disarray. The power of light and sunshine. Just as plants cannot thrive in darkness, neither can the human spirit flourish without light. To live on the sunny side is to orient the mind toward progress, possibility, and the abundance of life. A mind turned toward the light radiates positivity, and this radiance touches every corner of the body and soul. Mental sunshine has the power to purify, refine, and invigorate. It removes the toxins of doubt, fear, and negativity, replacing them with clarity, optimism, and energy. This isn't to suggest that challenges and difficulties can be ignored or wished away. Instead, living on the sunny side means choosing to see the potential for growth and good even in the face of adversity. It means aligning the mind with the idea that every obstacle is an opportunity for advancement and every moment contains the seeds of joy. When the mind lives in the light, every action it takes becomes constructive, fostering growth, renewal, and youth. Training the mind for the upper story. To live consistently in the upper story, the mind must be trained to ascend. This begins with a conscious decision to focus only on thoughts, feelings, and states of mind that uplift and expand. Joy, optimism, and curiosity are the building blocks of an elevated mental state. When we train the mind to dwell on these qualities, it naturally rises above the trivial and the negative, creating a space where growth and vitality thrive. Living in the upper story requires seeing life as a continuous opportunity for growth and discovery. When the mind embraces this perspective, it moves toward light and expansion, leaving behind the heaviness of stagnation. This upward momentum has a cascading effect. It energizes the mind, enlivens the body, and brightens the spirit. The result is a dynamic state of being where age has no place to settle, joy as an ascending force. One of the simplest ways to elevate the mind is to count everything as joy. Even in challenging circumstances, finding reasons to be grateful and optimistic creates a rising current in the mind. Joy is inherently expansive. It lifts, lightens, and invigorates. A joyful mind is always in motion, moving upward and forward, perpetually renewing itself and the body it animates. When we count everything as joy, we shift the focus of our attention. Rather than dwelling on limitations or difficulties, we concentrate on possibilities and solutions. This shift forms obstacles into stepping stones and problems into opportunities for growth. Over time, this practice becomes second nature, and the mind learns to inhabit a state of perpetual positivity and resilience. The relationship between mind and environment. The mind doesn't just influence the body, it shapes the external environment as well. When we adopt an elevated, sunny disposition, the world around us begins to reflect that brightness. Circumstances, relationships, and opportunities align with our inner state, creating a feedback loop of positivity and growth. Conversely, when the mind dwells in the lower story, it attracts difficulty, stagnation, and negativity. This principle underscores the importance of self-mastery. To live in the upper story and on the sunny side, we must take responsibility for our inner state, regardless of external conditions. When we refuse to let circumstances dictate our thoughts and feelings, we reclaim our power. From this position of strength, we can influence our environment, transforming it into a space that supports our growth and well-being, turning challenges into growth opportunities. Life will inevitably present challenges, but those who live in the upper story see these not as setbacks, but as opportunities. This perspective allows them to remain in a state of mental sunshine even when clouds gather. By focusing on solutions rather than problems, they harness the ascending power of the mind to rise above difficulties. This not only resolves challenges, but also strengthens the mind and spirit, reinforcing the habits of growth and renewal. To live in this way requires a strong, steady determination. The forces of the lower story, fear, doubt, worry, are persistent, but they are no match for a mind that is resolute in its commitment to light and expansion. When we meet every challenge with an attitude of possibility and an expectation of good, we align ourselves with the upward current of life itself. Perpetual youth through perpetual growth. Youth is not just a phase of life, it is a way of being. To stay young, we must stay in motion, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Living in the upper story and on the sunny side keeps us aligned with the forces of growth, renewal, and vitality. These forces are the antidote to aging, countering the stagnation and contraction that lead to decline. When the mind lives in perpetual light, every aspect of our being is illuminated. The cells of the body are energized, the faculties of the mind are sharpened, and the spirit is uplifted. This state of aliveness is the essence of youth, and it is available to anyone who chooses to live in harmony with the principles of elevation and light. The art of living above and beyond. To live in the upper story and on the sunny side is to live with intention, awareness, and joy. It is to rise above the noise and distractions of life, focusing instead on what is true, beautiful, and promising. It is to align with the higher forces of nature, which are always moving toward growth, renewal, and perfection. This way of living is not reserved for the few. It is a choice available to all. With practice, it becomes second nature, a natural state of being that sustains and enriches every moment of life. In this state, we discover that youth is not something we must chase or cling to. It is something we embody, simply by living in alignment with the light. Chapter 16. Embrace the ideal, the beautiful, the worthy, and the great. To journey through life with the ideal, the beautiful, the worthy, and the great as constant companions is to step into an elevated realm of existence. This transcendent mental atmosphere is not a mere luxury. It is essential for the perpetuation of youth. The state of mind in which the soul resides profoundly shapes the conditions of the personality. When the mind lives in an uplifting and expansive atmosphere, it nurtures growth and vitality, the cornerstones of youth. Conversely, when the mind lingers in lower, uninspired states, it invites stagnation and decay, the harbingers of age. The mind immersed in the ideal forgets the concept of age entirely, for in the realm of the ideal, everything is imbued with vitality, newness, and infinite potential. Age, with its associations of imperfection and incompleteness, has no place in this realm. To live in the ideal is to release all notions of limitation, including those imposed by time. When age is forgotten, the mind naturally gravitates toward youth, and this focus impresses upon the subconscious a perpetual image of vitality. The subconscious, in turn, manifests this image, creating an external reality in harmony with youthfulness. When the mind feels young, the body follows suit, radiating that vitality outward. Living in the ideal also awakens the best within us. When the mind dwells on the superior, the worthy, and the beautiful, every faculty strives to express its highest potential. Growth, the hallmark of youth, demands that every element of the personality continuously evolve and improve. Growth is not a mere repetition of what exists, it is the transformation of the best into something greater. This transformation is only possible when the mind and soul dwell in the ideal, where thoughts, aspirations, and actions are elevated to their finest expression. A life above circumstance. To perpetuate youth, the mind must rise above the influences of the external world. It must not allow its course to be dictated by the fleeting appearances of age or the constraints of circumstance. Instead, it must be guided by the higher aims of the soul. This inner sovereignty is crucial, for when the mind is swayed by external conditions, it loses touch with its ideals and succumbs to the limitations of the material world. In contrast, when the mind focuses unwaveringly on the ideal, it remains untouched by the imperfections of its surroundings and draws strength from its own transcendent vision. The key to maintaining this focus lies in creating a mental atmosphere that excludes all that is inferior, just as light banishes darkness. The mind must consciously cultivate an environment filled with thoughts and influences that uplift, inspire, and renew. By surrounding itself with the ideal, the mind creates an atmosphere that supports growth and vitality. In this elevated state, the mind and body are continually nourished by the qualities of greatness, beauty, and worth. Awakening greatness within. When the mind dwells on greatness, it activates the latent potential within every cell, every thought, and every action. The faculties of the mind expand, and the body responds with renewed vigor. Cells that were once dormant or depleted come alive, charged with the energy to regenerate and thrive. This cellular awakening is a profound transformation, a process through which the old and withered are replaced with the new and vibrant. The body, like the mind, becomes a vessel of continual renewal, eliminating the conditions of age and replacing them with the qualities of youth. Greatness inspires not only growth, but also transcendence. It compels every part of the system to exceed its previous limitations, to outdo itself in its quest for vitality and excellence. This dynamic process ensures that the entire being is in a state of perpetual renewal. In such a state, the conditions that lead to aging simply cannot take hold. Instead, the individual experiences a constant unfolding of newness and vitality. The power of beauty to renew. Beauty is not a superficial ornament, it is a transformative force that aligns the body and soul with the eternal qualities of youth. To live in the realm of beauty is to awaken the inherent power within us to refine, enhance, and perfect. When the mind is filled with thoughts of beauty, these thoughts stimulate a corresponding energy within the body. This energy activates a profound beautifying process that works from within, renewing and revitalizing the system on every level. As this process unfolds, the body becomes more radiant, more youthful, and more aligned with the ideals of beauty and perfection. To cultivate this inner beauty, the mind must continually ascend to higher realms of the beautiful. It must seek out and dwell upon the finest expressions of harmony, grace, and form. This elevation of thought not only enhances the outward appearance, but also fosters an inner vitality that sustains youthfulness. The body, reflecting the beauty of the soul, becomes a living testament to the power of this inner transformation. Living in the higher realms of the ideal. The soul must inhabit the highest realms of the ideal if it is to guide the personality toward perpetual youth. These realms are not abstract. They are vibrant, living states of being that infuse every thought, feeling, and action with meaning and purpose. To live in these realms is to be continually inspired, to see life not as a series of limitations, but as an unfolding of endless possibilities. In this elevated state, the soul transcends the imperfections of the material world, bringing forth qualities that are timeless and universal. The individual becomes a creator, shaping their reality in alignment with the ideals they hold dear. Each day becomes an opportunity to express more fully the beauty, greatness, and worth that reside within. And as these qualities are expressed, the conditions of youth are perpetuated, ensuring that the body remains as vibrant and dynamic as the mind and soul. the art of becoming. To perpetuate youth is to engage in the art of becoming more vibrant, more beautiful, more aligned with the ideals of the soul. This process is not about preserving what is, it is about transcending it, creating something new and greater with each passing moment. The soul that lives in the ideal is never stagnant, it is always reaching, always expanding, always becoming. This dynamic process ensures that life remains a journey of discovery and growth. It is a journey that embraces the eternal, the timeless, and the infinite. By choosing the ideal, the beautiful, the worthy, and the great as constant companions, we align ourselves with the highest truths of existence. We create a life that is not only youthful in appearance, but also rich in meaning, purpose, and joy. This is the path to true youthfulness, a youth that is not fleeting but eternal, a state of being that reflects the boundless potential of the soul. Chapter 17. The Youthful Power of Constant Love. The key to perpetual youth lies in the full and boundless expression of life, and nothing ignites this expression more profoundly than love. Love is the most potent force in existence. It is both the energy that sustains life and the fire that renews it. To live is to love, and to love is to live more deeply, expansively, and fully. The moment the flow of life stagnates, decline begins, and the slow erosion of vitality, the precursor to aging, takes hold. But love, when constant and true, infuses the entire system with an endless wellspring of energy, ensuring that life is ever renewing, ever creating, ever growing. Love is the ultimate creative force. It not only sustains life, but recreates it. When we love, we awaken dormant energies within our mind, body, and spirit, energies that vibrate with the essence of renewal. These energies, when activated, naturally align with the ideal, for the nature of love is inherently drawn toward perfection. When love permeates the human system, it inspires the body, mind, and soul to reshape themselves in the image of this ideal, casting off what is old and worn to make way for the new. This transformation, this perpetual rebirth, is the essence of youth. The role of love in the renewal of life. In its highest form, love does not merely maintain life, it elevates it. True love inspires a higher quality of existence, compelling us to grow beyond our current state. This is why love, when deeply felt and fully expressed, perpetuates youth. It acts as a catalyst, awakening the creative energies within us and directing them toward continual renewal. These energies, when infused with love, become forces of recreation, rejuvenating every cell, every thought, every aspect of our being. A life shared in the harmony of true partnership, such as a deeply loving marriage, exemplifies this principle. It is not the act of union itself that sustains youth, but the profound and ever-expanding love that such a relationship fosters. This love generates a wellspring of creative energy that invigorates the body and mind. However, even those who are not in such relationships can harness this power. Love is not confined to romantic partnerships. It can be expressed universally, through friendships, acts of kindness, and a deep appreciation for all of existence. This universal love, when directed toward the finer, higher aspects of life, can be transmuted into forces of personal development, creativity, and self-renewal. The science of transmutation. The energies awakened by love are inherently creative, but they must be refined to fulfill their highest potential. This process of refinement, transmutation, elevates raw energy into a purer, more potent form, capable of reconstructing the mind, body, and spirit. Transmutation occurs when we direct our focus toward the finer forces within us, those subtle, intangible energies that lie beneath the surface of our physical existence. Through focused intention and desire, these energies are drawn into a higher state, where they can be channeled into the recreation and perfection of our being. Transmutation is not an abstract concept. It is a practical, deliberate act of aligning our energies with our deepest desires. When our desire is strong, clear, and aimed at higher attainment, the energies within us naturally respond. They rebuild the body, refine the mind, and elevate the spirit, creating a personality that is not only renewed, but also enriched, expanded, and more vibrantly alive. This constant cycle of renewal ensures that aging, understood as stagnation and decline, has no foothold in our lives. Universal love, a pathway to greatness. To love universally is to embrace the fullness of life. It is to see the divine, the ideal, and the beautiful in all things, and to respond with a love that is boundless and pure. This kind of love does not dwell on flaws or imperfections. Instead, it focuses on the greatness and potential within all that exists. By loving the best in everything, we call forth the best within ourselves, awakening powers of greatness that might otherwise remain dormant. Greatness and love are intrinsically linked. The more we love, the greater we become, for love is the force that unlocks our highest potential. To cultivate greatness, we must first cultivate love, not just for the few, but for all. This universal love must transcend the personal and reach into the spiritual, touching the essence of life itself. When we love from the soul, we love the highest and best aspects of everything, and in doing so, we draw those same qualities into ourselves. Love as the ultimate creative force. To love with the fullness of one's heart and soul is to engage with life at its most profound level. True love is not limited by personal desires or circumstances. It is a force that seeks always to rise, always to expand, always to transform. When love is directed toward the beautiful, the ideal, and the divine, it becomes a purifying fire, consuming all that is impure, weak, or stagnant within us. It renews the personality, leaving it as fresh and vibrant as that of a child. The purifying power of love is unmatched. It eliminates the debris of age, weakness, and imperfection, filling the being with vitality and life. Love is, quite literally, the life of life. It is the force that sustains all existence. When the human system is thoroughly cleansed by love and saturated with its life-giving essence, youth becomes not just possible, but inevitable. The being who loves always will remain young always, for love is the very essence of youth, the eternal fires of love. To love as we are meant to love is to tap into an eternal source of energy and renewal. Love, in its truest form, is both tender and powerful, both intimate and universal. It sees the ideal in every person and every moment and strives to bring that ideal into being. When we love in this way, we align ourselves with the highest truths of existence. We rise above the limitations of the material world and enter into a realm where growth, renewal, and vitality are infinite. The fires of love, when kept burning at their brightest, consume all that does not serve the soul. They transform weakness into strength, imperfection into beauty, and stagnation into vitality. This is the power of love, to make all things new, to infuse all of life with its limitless energy, and to ensure that youth is not a short-lived state, but an eternal reality. To love always is to live in harmony with the fundamental laws of life. It is to engage with the world not as it appears, but as it could be, to see and call forth the divine potential in all things. This is the secret to perpetual youth, a love that is constant, universal, and transcendent. To love in this way is to remain forever young, for love is the source of all life, and life, when fully expressed, is youth everlasting. Chapter 18. Living a life that sustains your youth. To perpetuate youth, one must embrace a philosophy of constant renewal, a willingness to let go of what has served its purpose to make space for what is vital, fresh, and new. This requires the practice of dying daily to the old, a conscious shedding of outdated patterns, thoughts, and physical conditions that no longer contribute to growth. Carrying anything unnecessary, whether it be physical remnants, mental burdens, or expired ideas, creates stagnation, clogs the system, and disrupts the natural flow of life. Such accumulation inevitably leads to ossification, where vitality is replaced by rigidity, and the conditions of aging begin to take hold. The human system is designed for renewal. The subconscious mind, the deeper repository of our thoughts and habits, is the key to this process. It holds on to what we impress upon it, and it lets go of what we release. To truly live, we must train the subconscious to align with the ongoing flow of life, where every moment is an opportunity to transcend what has been and move into what can be. This subconscious alignment ensures that the body, mind, and spirit are continuously purged of the old and infused with the energy of the new. The art of letting go and growing into the new. True renewal is not about resisting the old or forcing its removal. It is about naturally growing out of it. Resistance creates attachment, anchoring us to what we seek to discard. Instead, the focus should be on expanding into higher states of being, where the old naturally dissolves, like shadows receding in the presence of light. When the mind is attuned to growth and guided by the desire to embrace the greater, the better, and the ideal, the system follows suit, seamlessly releasing what no longer serves. This process of dying daily is deeply regenerative. It's not an end but a transformation, a transmutation of what is outdated into something vibrant and alive. Every moment of release becomes a moment of renewal, and as this cycle continues, the body and mind remain young, not just in appearance but in essence. Youth, then, is not the absence of age, but the presence of constant recreation, living in alignment with the greater purpose of life. To perpetuate youth, one must live in alignment with the natural rhythms and purpose of life. Life, at its core, is a force of continuous expansion, moving ever upward and outward into more life. It is not a burden to bear, but a liberating power that transforms and elevates. When we think of life as heavy or difficult, we impose restrictions on its natural flow, creating conditions of stagnation and decay. Such a mindset fosters the very conditions of aging we seek to avoid. Instead, we must approach life as a dynamic, self-renewing force. To live more is to tap into this power, to experience life as an ever-unfolding journey toward greater vitality, joy, and fulfillment. This requires deep interest and engagement with life itself. By cultivating a profound appreciation for all that is alive, within us and around us, we align ourselves with the expanding energy of life. This alignment fuels the system with an ever-increasing supply of vitality, ensuring that youthfulness becomes a permanent state. The inner abundance of life. Life responds to demand. The more we strive to live fully, the more life responds by granting us the energy and resources to do so. When we desire life with all the force of our being, when every cell thrills with the anticipation of growth and renewal, we create an unending supply of vitality. Like light driving out darkness, this abundance of life leaves no room for the conditions of age. The more we live, the more life we generate, and the more deeply we immerse ourselves in life's power, the more its essence takes root in our being. This relationship with life requires not only a conscious effort to live fully, but also a deeper connection with the soul of life itself. It is through this connection that we access the inner abundance of life, the limitless reservoir of energy, creativity, and renewal that resides within us. To live from this inner abundance is to perpetuate youth from the inside out. Youth is not a matter of years. One of the greatest misconceptions about youth is that it is tied to the passage of years. In truth, youth is not a number but a condition of the system. It is defined by vitality, strength, and the absence of stagnation. A person who has lived 80 years yet remains free from the conditions of old age is just as young as someone half their age. Conversely, a young person weighed down by rigidity, stress, or disconnection from life can exhibit the signs of aging far earlier than expected. The privilege to live fully, to work, to create, and to contribute is not dictated by years, but by one's internal state. If the body and mind are vibrant and capable, then the individual is young and has every right to engage in the pursuits of youth. Age, then, becomes irrelevant. What matters is the presence or absence of old age conditions. Those who understand this truth break free from societal limitations, living their lives with a vitality that defies conventional expectations. Removing old age conditions. For those who have already developed old age conditions, the path to renewal begins with their removal. These conditions do not arise from years, but from the violation of natural laws, whether physical, mental, or both. To regain youth, one must first eliminate these conditions. This is not achieved by superficial efforts to appear or act young, but through a deep subconscious transformation. The subconscious mind governs the processes of renewal and must be engaged in the work of removing old age conditions. When the system is purged of these limitations, youth returns naturally. The energy of youth flows from within, and once awakened, it revitalizes the entire being, leaving no trace of the old. Living the life of youth. To live a life that perpetuates youth, one must align their actions, thoughts, and intentions with the essence of youth itself: vitality, curiosity, and growth. This means rejecting the notion that age limits potential, and instead embracing the belief that life is an ever-expanding journey of possibility. The conduct of an individual should always reflect their present vitality, not the arbitrary measure of years. Those who maintain the strength and capacity of youth should feel free to live as fully as they are able, regardless of societal expectations. Youth is not something to be performed or mimicked. It is something to be embodied. When life flows abundantly from within, youth becomes a natural expression. This abundance cannot coexist with old age conditions, for they are born of lack, while youth thrives in the presence of life's fullness. The timeless essence of youth. To perpetuate youth is to live in harmony with the deepest truths of existence. It is to see life not as a linear progression toward decline, but as a cyclical process of renewal and growth. By shedding the old and embracing the new, by aligning with the boundless energy of life, and by living with passion, curiosity, and purpose, we can transcend the limitations of time and remain forever young. Chapter 19. Balance in all things, consistency and moderation. The perpetuation of youth begins with balance, a delicate interplay between regularity and moderation that aligns the rhythms of life with the laws of nature. For the human system to remain vital and youthful, the functions of mind, body, and soul must act in harmonious coordination. Regularity provides the structure necessary to maintain equilibrium, while moderation ensures that no part of this balance is strained or neglected. Together, they form the foundation upon which a life of enduring vitality can be built. To achieve this, regularity must be embraced, not as rigid adherence to routine, but as a flexible guide for maintaining harmony within the system. A life overly dominated by strict schedules and inflexible habits can trap the mind, stifling creativity and growth. Conversely, a life devoid of structure breeds chaos, throwing the system into disarray and disrupting the natural processes that sustain vitality. The key is to live with disciplined regularity while allowing room for spontaneity and expansion. This balance enables the mind to explore its vast potential while the body operates within the boundaries of its current capacity. Expanding the mind while honoring the body. The mind thrives on expansion. It is designed to explore, innovate, and transcend its current limitations. However, the body operates within the physical laws of the present moment. To force the body beyond its limits before the mind has cultivated the necessary strength and capacity is to invite failure and strain. True growth occurs when the mind continuously reaches for the new, while the body is gradually guided to adapt and expand its abilities. When one embraces the belief that I can do more, the mind begins to awaken latent energies. Yet these energies must be channeled with intention and care. If rushed or misdirected, they can overwhelm the system. Instead, the mind should focus on steady and deliberate growth, allowing the body to follow naturally. The principle is simple. Act within your current capacity while maintaining a mindset of boundless potential. As the mind evolves, so too will the body, and with it, the capacity for greater action. The law of moderation, a life of balance. Moderation is not merely the avoidance of excess. It is the art of aligning action with capability. To live moderately is to work with the energy you possess, neither depleting nor hoarding it. Whether in physical activity, mental effort, or emotional engagement, overextension strains the system and accelerates the aging process. Similarly, underutilization stagnates growth, leaving parts of the system dormant and prone to decay. The law of moderation applies to all aspects of life: work, rest, pleasure, and even the pursuit of goals. When one attempts to do more than their current capacity allows, they create stress and imbalance. Yet when one does less than they are capable of, they deny themselves the opportunity to grow. Both extremes disrupt the harmony needed to sustain youthfulness. The ideal approach is to engage fully in life's activities while remaining attuned to the body's signals and respecting its limits. Awakening dormant potential. Youth is not merely the absence of age. It is the presence of vitality and growth. To stay young, every part of the human system must be alive and active. Dormant faculties, whether physical, mental, or emotional, become stagnant, and stagnation breeds decline. When parts of the system lie unused, they wither, dry up, and ossify, creating the conditions that lead to aging. On the other hand, when every function and faculty is utilized constructively, the entire system thrives, continually regenerating itself. The principle of transmutation plays a crucial role here. When a function or energy cannot be used in its usual form, it can be redirected toward other constructive purposes. For example, creative energy that might otherwise go unused can be channeled into intellectual pursuits, artistic expression, or personal development. This ensures that every part of the system remains engaged, vibrant, and alive. The role of wholesomeness. Youth thrives on freshness, vitality, and the essence of life itself. Everything that enters the human system, whether it is food, thoughts, or experiences, must be wholesome and infused with the spirit of renewal. Just as stale air weakens the body, stagnant thoughts and repetitive routines stifle the mind. To stay young, one must breathe in the freshness of life in all its forms. This means surrounding oneself with positive influences, nourishing the body with pure and life giving sustenance, and engaging the mind with ideas that inspire and uplift. Wholesomeness, however, must be paired with discernment. While maintaining a positive outlook can mitigate some of the negative effects of poor choices, it is far more effective to choose wisely from the start. Selecting the best of what life has to offer, be it in food, companionship, or thought, ensures that every aspect of life contributes to the vitality of the system. The danger of mechanical living. Mechanical routines, whether in exercise, work, or thought, rob life of its vitality. When actions become automatic, they lose their capacity to invigorate and instead drain the system. True engagement requires presence and intention. Exercise, for example, should not be a mindless repetition of movements, but a dynamic interaction between body, mind, and spirit. Similarly, mental and emotional activities should be infused with curiosity, creativity, and passion. Living mechanically creates a dead air effect, a lifeless atmosphere that suffocates growth and vitality. This is one of the fastest paths to aging. To perpetuate youth, life must remain dynamic, filled with movement, change, and the constant infusion of new energy. Every action, no matter how routine, should be approached with a sense of purpose and renewal. Regularity and moderation as pathways to youth. When regularity and moderation are applied wisely, they create a rhythm that aligns the individual with the natural flow of life. Regularity ensures that the system operates smoothly, maintaining harmony among its various functions. Moderation prevents the system from becoming overburdened or underutilized, preserving its balance and vitality. This approach is not about restriction or limitation, but about optimization. It is about living in a way that maximizes energy, enhances growth, and promotes renewal. By embracing regularity and moderation, one cultivates an environment in which youth can flourish, a life that is vibrant, balanced, and perpetually alive. The eternal renewal of youth. Youth is not a fleeting stage, but a state of being, a dynamic interplay of vitality, growth, and renewal. To live a life that perpetuates youth, one must honor the principles of regularity and moderation, engaging fully with life while respecting its rhythms. This balance allows the body and mind to thrive, continuously regenerating and evolving. In this state, every breath is fresh, every action purposeful, and every moment an opportunity to grow. This is the essence of a life lived in harmony with the principles of youth, a life that does not merely resist aging, but transcends it, embracing the eternal vitality that lies at the heart of existence. Chapter 20. The rejuvenating power of quality sleep. Sleep is more than a relief from the labors of the day. It is a portal to renewal, a sacred time when the conscious mind retreats and the subconscious takes the wheel. During these hours, the body recharges, the mind reorganizes, and the soul finds solace in realms untouched by the waking world. Properly understood and practiced, sleep becomes a powerful tool for perpetuating youth, restoring vitality, and aligning oneself with the eternal rhythms of life. When the conscious ego surrenders to sleep, it embarks on a twofold mission. First, to deposit the day's experiences into the subconscious reservoir, and second, to draw from the wellspring of life force, rejuvenating the entire system. The subconscious, vast and intricate, governs much of our physical and mental well-being. It influences how the body repairs itself, how the mind processes emotions, and ultimately, how the spirit retains its vitality. The nature of what we take into the subconscious at the moment of sleep significantly impacts how we awaken, refreshed and invigorated, or weary and drained. The seeds of renewal, sowing before sleep. The time just before sleep is a profound moment of creation. It is during this transition that the conscious mind plants seeds in the fertile soil of the subconscious. These seeds, thoughts, emotions, intentions, will grow and manifest as conditions in the waking life. If these seeds are tainted by worry, frustration, or negativity, they will yield a harvest of stress, decay, and fatigue. Conversely, if they are imbued with peace, hope, and the aspiration for growth, They will nurture the qualities of youth and vitality. To sleep properly is to engage in this sowing with intention. Before sleep, the conscious mind should focus on ideals that elevate and inspire, visions of health, beauty, strength, and fulfillment. This practice ensures that the subconscious mind spends the night cultivating these positive impressions, integrating them into the fabric of our being. The result is a waking state marked by clarity, energy, and the unmistakable radiance of youth. The upper story and the lower story, choosing where you sleep. The state of mind in which you fall asleep determines the nature of the subconscious activity during sleep. Entering sleep in the upper story, a state of elevated thought, peace, and harmony, leads to subconscious renewal and growth. Here, the mind is free from the burdens of the day, focused instead on higher ideals and constructive aspirations. The subconscious, in turn, reflects this harmony, infusing the personality with strength, vitality, and an unshakable sense of well-being. On the other hand, entering sleep in the lower story, a state dominated by worry, frustration, or negativity, burdens the subconscious with detrimental impressions. These impressions manifest as stress, fatigue, and aging conditions, draining the system rather than replenishing it. Over time, habitual lower story sleep weakens the subconscious, leading to physical and mental decline. It is no coincidence that many people feel old, not because of their years, but because of the accumulated effects of restless, unintentional sleep. The practice of elevated sleep. To consistently sleep in the upper story, one must cultivate a nightly practice of mental elevation. This involves consciously shifting attention away from the troubles of the day and focusing on uplifting thoughts and ideals. Spend the hour before bed immersing yourself in peace, whether through quiet reflection, gentle reading, or meditative practices. Allow the mind to ascend into realms of harmony and joy, dwelling on thoughts that inspire and expand the soul. As you lie down, let the final moments of wakefulness be filled with a deep sense of gratitude and intention. Visualize your subconscious as a garden and plant only seeds of beauty and renewal. Affirm to yourself the qualities you wish to cultivate: youth, strength, vitality, and imagine these qualities taking root and flourishing within you as you sleep. The mechanics of rejuvenation during sleep. When sleep is approached with this elevated intention, the subconscious mind undergoes a process of profound renewal. The body, guided by the subconscious, repairs damaged tissues, replenishes energy stores, and harmonizes its functions. The mind, freed from the clutter of the day, organizes thoughts and emotions, preparing for the challenges of tomorrow. And the spirit, unencumbered by negativity, reconnects with the infinite source of life, drawing from it an endless supply of vitality. This is why awakening from proper sleep feels like stepping into a new world. The body is refreshed, the mind is clear, and the soul is invigorated. There is a sense of possibility, a feeling that anything can be achieved. This is the gift of sleep properly slept, a gift that perpetuates youth by renewing the very essence of life. The link between sleep and youth. Youth is not merely a function of biology. It is a state of being characterized by growth, vitality, and resilience. These qualities are cultivated during sleep, provided the subconscious is given the right materials to work with. When the mind consistently enters sleep with thoughts of youth, vitality, and growth, these qualities become ingrained in the subconscious. Over time, they manifest in the personality, influencing how we look, feel, and act. To reinforce this process, begin each day with the conviction that you are young and full of life. This conviction, carried into the waking hours, sustains the subconscious impressions made during sleep, creating a continuous cycle of renewal. Practical considerations for optimal sleep. While the quality of sleep is paramount, its quantity also matters. 7 to 8 hours of sleep per night is ideal for most people, providing sufficient time for the subconscious to perform its rejuvenating work. Too little sleep leaves the system undercharged, while too much sleep can dull the mind and body, leading to stagnation. It is equally important to begin the day with purposeful activity, channeling the renewed energy from sleep into constructive endeavors. This not only amplifies the benefits of sleep, but also sets the tone for a day filled with vitality and growth. Sleep as a sacred practice. Sleep is more than rest. It is a sacred practice of renewal and transformation. When approached with intention and reverence, It becomes a powerful ally in the quest for youth and vitality. By entering sleep with elevated thoughts and waking with purposeful conviction, we align ourselves with the eternal rhythms of life, ensuring that each day brings us closer to the fullness of our potential. To sleep properly is to live fully, and to live fully is to stay young forever. Chapter 21, Perfect Health, Why It's Essential and How to Attain It. Perfect health is not merely a fortunate condition. It is an essential foundation for the perpetuation of youth and vitality. Health, when understood as an intrinsic quality of the human system, reveals itself as a dynamic and self-sustaining power, a force that can be nurtured and amplified through intention, understanding, and alignment with natural laws. To stay young, one must live in harmony with this innate power of health, actively cultivating it and allowing it to flourish within the body, mind, and spirit. The human system is designed to heal itself. Within every cell, every organ, and every thought resides an inherent vitality, a force capable of maintaining perfect balance and wholeness. This regenerative power is not something external to us. It is woven into the very fabric of our being. To live in health, one need only activate this power consistently, allowing it to work unimpeded. The key lies not in battling disease, but in awakening and sustaining the elements of health that already exist within. The source of health lies within. Health is not bestowed upon us by external means. It originates from within. Whenever a medical treatment or remedy appears effective, it is because it has supported or activated the body's inherent healing capacity. No pill, procedure, or practice can truly cure. It can only facilitate the self-healing processes already latent in the human system. The secret to perfect health, then, lies in learning how to consistently activate and enhance this inner vitality. Disease, by contrast, is not a natural state. It is an interference, a disruption in the normal functioning of the body's inherent health processes. Such disruptions arise when the system's vitality has been allowed to diminish, whether through physical, mental, or emotional strain. The solution, therefore, is not to attack the disease, but to restore the system's vitality. This restoration can only occur by increasing the power of health within the system, a process that begins with understanding and addressing the root causes of diminished vitality. The mental foundations of health. The state of our health is profoundly influenced by the state of our mind. The body is a reflection of the thoughts and attitudes we hold about ourselves, our lives, and the world around us. Negative mental states, fear, worry, resentment, or defeat, sap our vitality and interfere with the body's natural healing processes. Conversely, positive mental states, hope, joy, love, and purpose, invigorate the system, providing the foundation for continuous health and renewal. To maintain perfect health, it is essential to approach life with an attitude of constructive engagement. Work, for instance, should not be perceived as a burden or a source of exhaustion. When work is approached with enthusiasm and purpose, it becomes an energizing force, a means of growth and fulfillment. Similarly, the pursuit of pleasure should be aligned with deeper joy rather than mere gratification. True enjoyment connects us to the soul of life, replenishing our vitality rather than depleting it. Cultivating the power of health. Activating the power of health within begins with a simple but profound shift in awareness, recognizing that health is always present, even when obscured by illness. This awareness opens the door to practices that can amplify and sustain the body's natural vitality. To begin, it is necessary to cultivate the belief that the body has the power to generate perfect health. This belief must not only reside in the intellect, but also permeate the subconscious mind. By affirming repeatedly, "I am well," and allowing this affirmation to become a living truth in our thoughts and feelings, we awaken the latent health within us. The subconscious mind, when consistently impressed with the idea of health, will work tirelessly to manifest this condition in the body. Another vital practice is to direct focused attention upon the areas of the body that require healing. This is not merely an act of willpower, but a form of concentrated awareness that aligns the mind with the subtle forces of health. By visualizing these areas bathed in vitality and wholeness, we activate the deeper regenerative forces within them. This practice of subjective concentration is particularly powerful because it works on the level of the subconscious, where all true healing begins. Living in harmony with health. Health is not a static condition. It is a dynamic process that requires continuous engagement. To maintain and enhance health, one must align every aspect of life with the principles of vitality and renewal. This involves nourishing the body with wholesome food and drink, engaging in purposeful and joyful activity, and creating an environment, both internal and external, that supports well-being. Regular exercise, for example, should never be a mechanical chore. It should be an expression of life itself, infused with mental interest and soul. When exercise is approached with intention and awareness, it becomes a means of energizing the system rather than depleting it. Similarly, the air we breathe, the thoughts we think, and the relationships we nurture should all contribute to the vitality of our being. Everything that enters our system, whether physical, mental, or emotional, should carry the essence of life and renewal, health as an ever-expanding quality. It is not enough to simply maintain good health. True health is ever-expanding. Just as life itself is characterized by growth and evolution, so too must our health continuously develop. To settle for good enough is to stagnate, and stagnation is the precursor to decline. Instead, we must strive to deepen our experience of health, cultivating greater vitality, resilience, and joy with each passing day. This process requires a commitment to growth on all levels. Physically, we must care for our bodies with mindfulness and intention. Mentally, we must seek to elevate our thoughts and attitudes, aligning them with the principles of life and vitality. Spiritually, we must connect with the infinite source of health and renewal that resides within us, allowing it to guide and sustain us. The infinite potential of health. There is no limit to the health and vitality we can achieve. The human system is designed for renewal, and its potential for growth is boundless. By consistently activating the elements of health within us, we can not only overcome illness, but also transcend the limitations of aging, living in a state of perpetual youth and vitality. To live in perfect health is to live in harmony with the deeper truths of life. It is to recognize that health is our natural state, that vitality is our birthright, and that the power to sustain and enhance our well-being resides within us at all times. By aligning ourselves with these truths and living in accordance with the principles of health, we unlock the full potential of our being, experiencing life as it was meant to be, vibrant, joyful, and eternally renewing. Chapter 22. Embrace the belief that staying young is natural. Life is not a stagnant force. It is a river of continuous advancement, a flow designed to perpetually elevate every aspect of our being. The essence of life is progress, and the principles that govern it are rooted in this innate forward movement. Everything in nature carries within it the potential for growth and renewal, and the human system is no exception. To age, to diminish in vitality and retreat from this forward trajectory is not the natural course of life, but a divergence from it. Aging, in its most fundamental sense, is a violation of the laws of nature, while staying young, vibrant, and vital aligns perfectly with life's true purpose. To remain youthful is to align oneself with the perpetual movement of life. Youthfulness is not simply an outward appearance or a fleeting stage of development. It is an enduring state of being that reflects harmony with the very fabric of existence. To live in this harmony, one must adopt a mindset rooted in the conviction that staying young is not only possible, but natural. By embracing this truth, we awaken within ourselves the power to fulfill life's promise of continuous renewal. Advancing toward youth. Life's inherent purpose is advancement, and every law of nature supports this upward journey. The cells of the body, the faculties of the mind, and the energies of the spirit all seek to grow, evolve, and expand. Aging, on the other hand, halts this progress. It pulls the system backward into weakness, stagnation, and decline. To grow old is to move in opposition to life's natural flow, and as such, it is neither inevitable nor necessary. When we accept that aging is unnatural, we simultaneously affirm that staying young is not a privilege reserved for a select few, but a birthright available to all. To live in this truth is to reject the limiting beliefs imposed by societal norms and historical conditioning. It is to break free from the narrative that aging is an unavoidable decline and instead adopt the understanding that youth is the natural state of a life in motion. Reframing the language of life. Living in the conviction that it is natural to stay young requires a fundamental shift in the way we think, speak, and act. Words have power. They shape our thoughts and influence the subconscious mind. When we say, "I'm getting older," we plant the seed of aging within our consciousness. Instead, we should affirm, "I'm living longer," a phrase that carries the energy of growth, vitality, and endless possibility. Similarly, thoughts of saving for old age or preparing for inevitable decline reinforce the expectation of aging. Instead, we should focus on accumulating resources for a vibrant and expansive future. By envisioning ourselves as active participants in a growing life, we direct the forces of nature within us to support continuous advancement. We create a mindset of abundance and possibility rather than limitation and loss. Living in alignment with youthfulness also requires us to let go of fear-based habits, such as preparing for rainy days. To dwell on potential hardship invites it into our reality. Instead, we should focus on building strength and abundance in the present, trusting that these qualities will carry us forward into a future filled with opportunity. Life responds to our beliefs, and when we believe in a bright and expanding future, we create it. The power of conviction. To truly live in the conviction that it is natural to stay young, we must embody this belief in every aspect of our being. This begins with affirming daily, "I am young." These words should not be mere repetition, but a deeply felt truth that resonates through the mind, body, and soul. When we live and move in the spirit of youth, we align ourselves with the natural rhythms of life, which are ever renewing and eternally vibrant. This conviction transforms the subconscious mind, the seat of our deepest beliefs and habits. When the subconscious is imbued with the understanding that youth is natural, it begins to express this truth through every cell, thought, and action. The subconscious governs the body, and when it is guided by the principle of perpetual youth, the body responds by regenerating, revitalizing, and thriving. To deepen this conviction, it is essential to connect with the soul of nature. On the surface, nature may seem to suggest cycles of birth, growth, and decay, but beneath this appearance lies a deeper truth. Nature is a constant renewal. The seasons may change, but life itself never ceases. By attuning ourselves to this eternal aspect of nature, we align with its regenerative power and reinforce our belief in continuous youth. Breaking free from old paradigms. For centuries, humanity has been conditioned to accept aging as an unavoidable reality. This collective belief has shaped our behaviors, attitudes, and even our biology. To stay young, we must break free from these limiting paradigms and embrace a new understanding of life. This begins with rejecting the false narratives of aging and replacing them with the truth of continuous advancement. When we truly believe that it is natural to stay young, the forces within us begin to act in accordance with this belief. The body no longer follows the patterns of decline dictated by societal expectations, but instead aligns with the natural laws of growth and renewal. The mind, too, becomes free from the fear of aging, allowing it to focus on the limitless possibilities of life. Youth as a state of being. Youth is not confined to a particular age or stage of life. It is a state of being. It is the expression of vitality, curiosity, and boundless energy. When we live in the spirit of youth, we remain open to new experiences, ideas, and opportunities. We continue to grow, learn, and evolve, no matter how many years we have lived. This state of being is accessible to anyone who chooses to live in harmony with life's purpose. By embracing the truth that life is eternal and ever advancing, we align ourselves with the forces that sustain youth. We become active participants in the unfolding of our own vitality, creating a future that is not defined by age, but by the limitless potential of life itself. The eternal nature of life. Real life, in its truest essence, is eternal. It is a continuous flow of energy, creativity, and renewal. To live in alignment with this truth is to live a life of perpetual youth. As we grow in our understanding of this principle, we see that aging is not a natural process, but a departure from life's true purpose. By returning to this purpose, by living in the conviction that it is natural to stay young, we unlock the infinite potential within us and step into a life that is vibrant, expansive, and endlessly renewing. To move forward is to stay young. And as long as we continue to move forward, embracing the purpose of life with every breath, we remain aligned with the eternal essence of youth. Life is eternal, and so too is the vitality that flows within us when we live in harmony with its truth. Chapter 23: Rethinking Birthdays and Celebrations. Birthdays hold a special place in the human experience. For many, they are milestones tied to the passage of time, often overshadowed by the notion of aging. Yet this connection between birthdays and growing old is more cultural construct than natural law. The truth is that age, as we understand it, is not an inevitable product of years lived, but rather a state of mind and perception. To live fully and vibrantly, we must reframe birthdays not as reminders of decline, but as celebrations of growth, renewal, and the ongoing journey of life. Breaking the link between birthdays and aging. For too long, birthdays have been synonymous with aging, a psychological marker that reinforces the idea of inevitable decline. But science, philosophy, and nature itself tell us a different story. The mere passage of time cannot create the conditions of aging. Years are simply a measure of existence, not a determinant of vitality. When we say we are X years old, we inadvertently align ourselves with the idea that time has diminished us. Instead, we should proudly declare how many years we have lived, emphasizing life's richness and accumulated wisdom rather than the illusion of age. To claim that years make us old is to misunderstand the nature of life. Age is not created by time, but by thoughts, beliefs, and habits that weigh on the spirit and body. The words we use to describe our lives matter. Saying, "I've lived for 40 years," evokes a sense of growth and progression, while "I am 40 years old" implies wear and tear. Words shape reality, and to live in the spirit of youth, we must think and speak in a way that aligns with vitality and renewal. Birthdays as markers of growth and ascension. Every birthday is a celebration of progress, a moment to reflect on the steps taken toward greater fulfillment, understanding, and achievement. In this light, birthdays are not markers of age, but milestones of ascent, evidence that we are moving higher in the scale of life. They signify how far we've come and serve as opportunities to set intentions for the future. Imagine treating each birthday as a symbol of rejuvenation. Rather than lamenting the passage of another year, use the day to reflect on how you have become stronger, more vibrant, and more aligned with your ideals. Celebrate the ways you have grown mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Let the occasion reaffirm your commitment to living the advancing life, a life in which every year adds richness, power, and joy. To embrace this perspective, redefine your birthdays as gateways to greater possibilities. View them as opportunities to step closer to your highest potential. See each one as a time to honor your progress, not as a reminder of time slipping away. With this mindset, every birthday becomes a reason to celebrate your evolving self. Eliminating the fear of years. One of the most insidious aspects of traditional birthday celebrations is the unspoken anxiety around numbers. Society's fixation on chronological age feeds the misconception that years define us, that they inevitably diminish our vitality. But to think this way is to give power to an illusion. Years do not create wrinkles, sap energy, or dull the mind. These conditions arise from beliefs and behaviors, not from the mere passage of time. It's time to detach ourselves from the fear of years. Instead of hiding your age or feeling burdened by it, embrace it. Be proud of the years you've lived, for they are evidence of your growth, resilience, and wisdom. Saying, "I am 60 years young," acknowledges the vitality that remains within you. It celebrates life rather than fearing its continuation. Deception about age, whether to oneself or others, is not only unnecessary, but counterproductive. Pretending to be younger or hiding the years you've lived feeds subconscious fears of aging, reinforcing the very conditions you seek to avoid. Honesty about your life's journey creates a sense of empowerment and peace, which are essential to maintaining youthfulness in body and spirit. Living in the eternal present. To free ourselves from the mental constraints of aging, we must adopt a new perspective on time. Time is not a linear march toward decline. It is an eternal flow, an ever-present now. In this understanding, life is not divided into past, present, and future, but is a continuous unfolding of existence. When we live in the eternal now, we align ourselves with the spirit of youth, which is ever renewing and ever expanding. Birthdays, then, are not a tally of years gone by, but a celebration of the infinite potential that lies ahead. They remind us to live fully in the present, while embracing the possibilities of the future. To view life this way is to step into a realm where aging has no place, where every moment is an opportunity to grow, create, and thrive. Ritualizing birthdays as a celebration of youth. When your next birthday approaches, prepare not to mourn the passage of another year, but to celebrate the vitality of your existence. Reflect on the progress you've made, the dreams realized, the lessons learned, the joys experienced. Use the day to set new intentions, to recommit to your goals, and to envision an even brighter future. Surround your celebration with symbols of renewal and growth. Choose activities that make you feel alive and connected to the essence of youth. Whether it's spending time in nature, creating something beautiful, or simply enjoying the company of loved ones, let your actions reflect the vitality and joy you wish to carry forward. Most importantly, affirm your youth with conviction. Remind yourself that life's essence is timeless and that the years you've lived are markers of your strength and resilience, not indicators of decline. Declare with confidence, I am young, and I am growing younger with every year. Birthdays as a gateway to eternal youth. When we reframe birthdays as celebrations of life, rather than milestones of aging, we transform their meaning entirely. Each year becomes a testament to the enduring spirit of youth within us. Instead of fearing the passage of time, we embrace it as a gift, knowing that every moment offers the potential for growth and renewal. To live in this way is to align ourselves with the eternal nature of life. Real life does not age, it evolves. It does not diminish, it expands. By embracing this truth, we step into a reality where youth is not a fleeting phase, but a perpetual state of being. In this reality, every birthday is a doorway to greater heights, a chance to rise higher, live fuller, and shine brighter than ever before. Chapter 24. How long can we truly live? The question of how long we may live on Earth has fascinated humankind for centuries. Yet the answer lies not in the limits imposed by biology or the ticking clock of years, but in the depth and quality of the life we choose to live. The purpose of life is not measured in years, but in how fully, richly, and consciously we live in each moment. Time, when viewed as a linear sequence marching toward death, becomes a burden. But when seen as the eternal now, a continuous unfolding of experience and growth, life expands infinitely. The length of our life is not fixed by fate, but shaped by how well we embrace the present moment. The power to extend life, to stay vibrant and youthful, lies within us, driven by the choices we make and the energy we cultivate. When we focus entirely on living each moment with purpose, vitality, and joy, the question of how long becomes irrelevant. Life itself takes on a timeless quality, free from the constraints of counting years. The constructive power of the present. To live well is to live more, and to live more is to live longer. When we pour our attention and energy into the present moment, treating it as the ultimate opportunity for growth and fulfillment, life's vitality increases. This is not a matter of chance or luck, but of alignment with the natural laws of existence. Life thrives on expansion, creativity, and purpose. As long as we live in a way that fosters these qualities, the power of life within us grows stronger. In contrast, thoughts of death, aging, or a finite lifespan siphon energy from the present. To think of death is to divide our attention, weakening the force of life. It introduces limitations where none exist. The mind that dwells on endings instead of beginnings unwittingly invites decay. Life, by its nature, is not preoccupied with endings, but with continuous renewal. To live well, we must embrace life fully, refusing to let thoughts of age or death dilute its vitality. The danger of setting time limits. Many people, consciously or unconsciously, set a limit on their lifespan. Whether it's the societal expectation of living to 70, 80, or even 100 years, this mental framework creates a ceiling for the mind and body. By setting these limits, we plant subconscious seeds of decline. Thoughts like, I'll retire at 65, or I'll probably live to 80, impose boundaries that shape up our physiology and energy in ways we may not realize. Even those who hope for extraordinary longevity, dreaming of living 1,000 years, fall into the same trap. By focusing on the number of years, they give power to the concept of time and its inevitable association with aging and endings. The result is the same. They unwittingly create conditions for decline, regardless of the lifespan they envision. Instead, the path to vitality lies in discarding the notion of time altogether. Live not with a fixed timeline, but with the conviction of eternal life. Life's purpose is not to calculate how long we can stay, but to fulfill the work, growth, and joy we are meant to experience here. When we live in this mindset, our days expand, not in number, but in depth and richness, fulfilling life's purpose. We are here for a reason: to learn, grow, create, and contribute to the unfolding tapestry of existence. Our time on Earth is not random. It is a sacred opportunity to explore, express, and fulfill the unique purpose of our being. To live well means to live fully in the now, engaging every aspect of life with enthusiasm and intention. The average person often departs this world before fully realizing their potential, not because life is inherently short, but because we fail to align with its purpose. By succumbing to distractions, limiting beliefs, or the race's inherited mistakes, we truncate our time here. Yet the power to extend life, to truly live as long as necessary to fulfill our purpose, is within reach. It begins by eliminating the conditions that drain vitality and embracing practices that amplify life force. The energy of preservation and growth. To live longer and better, we must learn to preserve and expand the energy within us. Energy is the currency of life. When wasted through stress, worry, or excess, it diminishes our capacity to live fully. But when cultivated and directed toward constructive pursuits, energy becomes a source of renewal and strength. Imagine living a single month without wasting any of your generated energy. No stress, no overexertion, no unnecessary conflict. Instead, every action is intentional, every thought aligned with growth and joy. The results would be transformative. Now, imagine extending that practice indefinitely. The energy saved and cultivated would fuel a life of extraordinary vitality, allowing the body and mind to thrive far beyond current expectations. Nature has endowed every living being with the power to perpetuate its existence until its purpose is fulfilled. The human body, when aligned with this natural law, possesses a remarkable capacity for longevity. To violate this law, whether through unhealthy habits, negative thoughts, or a disregard for life's purpose, is to cut short the time we are given. But to live in harmony with it is to unlock the potential for an expansive, vibrant life, eternal progress and ascension. Life's ultimate purpose is eternal progress, a continuous ascent toward greater understanding, love, and expression. But this progress is not deferred to some distant afterlife or future existence. It is happening now, in every moment we choose to live fully and consciously. The ascending life is not a future promise, but a present reality for those who embrace it. To live the ascending life is to rise above the limitations of time and age. It is to see every day as an opportunity for growth, every moment as a step closer to the fulfillment of our highest potential. Such a life is inherently youthful, for youth is not tied to years, but to the spirit of perpetual renewal and discovery. When we live in this way, the question of how long we may live becomes irrelevant. We live as long as we are meant to, completing the work and lessons that are ours to fulfill. And when our time here is complete, we move naturally and joyfully to the next phase of existence, carrying with us the richness of all we have learned and become, a life without limits. To truly live is to let go of all limitations, including those imposed by time and age. The human potential for longevity is far greater than we have yet realized. By aligning with the laws of life, preserving our energy, and living in the spirit of continuous growth, we may extend our time on Earth far beyond the current norm. More importantly, we may fill that time with vigor, joy, and purpose. The key is to live now, not for the future, not in fear of the end, but fully and completely in the present. To live now is to embrace life in its entirety, to revel in its beauty, and to honor its purpose. In doing so, we not only extend our days, but enrich them immeasurably, ensuring that every moment is a testament to the boundless potential of life itself. Chapter 25. Reimagining the future with vibrance and youth. To live fully in the great eternal now is not to confine ourselves solely to the present moment. Life, by its very nature, is forward-moving. To live is to progress, and to progress is to dream of what lies ahead. The images we hold of the future, whether consciously or subconsciously, shape the reality of our coming days. What we expect, we inevitably create. Yet for most, These expectations are rooted in the belief that aging, decline, and eventual stagnation are unavoidable. This misconception shapes a future riddled with weakness, limitation, and resignation, a self-fulfilling prophecy of decay. But this bleak vision is not aligned with the true nature of life. Life is an ever-expanding force, built on the principles of renewal, advancement, and growth. To be true to life, we must discard the outdated picture of inevitable decline and replace it with a vibrant, empowering vision of the future, one grounded in continuous evolution and endless possibility. We must learn to paint a new picture of the coming years, one that reflects the limitless potential of human existence, the transformative power of a new vision. The new picture of the coming years is not merely an optimistic fantasy. It is a deliberate, scientifically grounded reimagining of what life can be. It begins with the understanding that our thoughts are the architects of our reality. The life forces within us are constantly at work, producing outcomes that align with the images we hold in our minds. If we expect decline, weakness, and obsolescence, those forces will faithfully construct a future to match. Conversely, if we envision vitality, wisdom, and expansion, we activate those same forces to bring about a brighter reality. For generations, society has perpetuated the narrative that aging is synonymous with deterioration. We associate advancing years with loss of health, strength, relevance, and joy. These beliefs are deeply ingrained in our collective consciousness, shaping not only individual lives, but the trajectory of entire cultures. Yet these ideas are not immutable truths. They are simply patterns of thought, inherited and repeated, which can be unlearned and replaced. To create a new future, we must first unshackle ourselves from these limiting beliefs. The years ahead are not a countdown to decline, but an invitation to ascend into greater realms of existence. The new picture of the future is one of perpetual growth, where every year brings more vitality, more wisdom, and more fulfillment. This is not an unrealistic expectation. It is a truth aligned with the natural laws of life. When we live in harmony with those laws, we cease to decline and begin to thrive. Crafting the new picture. What does this new vision of the future look like? It is not a rigid plan or a list of achievements, but a vivid, dynamic image of continuous advancement in every dimension of life. It is the belief that we can remain youthful, not just in body, but in spirit, mind, and purpose. It is the conviction that our capacities for love, creativity, understanding, and joy can expand indefinitely. In this new picture, health is not something that diminishes with time, but grows stronger with each passing year. The body becomes a vessel of vitality, fueled by the ever-renewing forces of life. Strength and energy are not seen as fleeting gifts of youth, but as the natural state of a life lived in alignment with growth. The mind, too, follows this path of perpetual improvement. Intellectual brilliance, creativity, and clarity deepen with time, as experience enriches understanding and opens new pathways of thought. Emotional maturity blossoms into a profound capacity for love, empathy, and connection. The soul ascends into higher states of awareness, finding peace, harmony, and transcendence in the ever-expanding realms of existence. This vision extends beyond the self. The new picture includes a world where relationships flourish, where communities are strengthened, and where our connection to nature and the cosmos deepens. It is a life of increasing richness, where each day adds to the beauty, meaning, and fulfillment of the journey. Living the ascending life. To bring this vision to life, we must live as though it is already real. The present moment becomes the fertile ground where the seeds of the future are sown. Every thought, action, and intention must align with the principles of growth and renewal. This does not mean passively dreaming of a better tomorrow. It means actively creating it by making each moment a reflection of the future we envision. The key is to live with both the expectation and the embodiment of this brighter future. Expectation alone is not enough. It must be paired with action. For example, if we envision a future of vibrant health, we must care for our bodies in ways that promote vitality now. If we dream of intellectual brilliance, we must nurture our minds through learning, curiosity, and creativity today. The life forces respond not to idle wishes, but to the energy and intention we pour into the present. Living the ascending life also requires us to free ourselves from the constraints of old patterns. We must let go of the belief that the passage of time inevitably leads to decline. Instead, we must embrace the truth that time is a canvas upon which we can paint the masterpiece of our lives. Each year is an opportunity to rise higher, to explore deeper, and to create more. A future without limits. The new picture of the coming years is limitless in its scope. It envisions a future where we are not bound by the misconceptions of age, time, or ability. It is a future of boundless potential, where every moment adds to the richness and wonder of life. This is not a fantasy. It is a natural outcome of living in harmony with the laws of life. To adopt this vision is to transform not only our own lives, but the world around us. When we embody the principles of growth, renewal, and vitality, we become beacons of inspiration for others. We demonstrate that life is not a downward spiral, but an upward ascent. Together, we can create a world where the future is not something to be feared, but something to be celebrated. The new picture of the coming years is one of eternal youth, not in the superficial sense of physical appearance, but in the deeper sense of an ever-renewing spirit. It is a life where we are always growing, always learning, and always becoming. To live with this picture in mind is to live the ascending life. And to live the ascending life is to truly live.